Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Synth Geekery, episode 263. We have reached September. This is spring in this part of the world, and it's probably autumn in some other parts of the world, and God knows what it is in other parts of the world, but I'm pretty sure that just covers most of the world, right? Anyway, happy autumn or happy spring for you guys. It's probably been about 2 weeks worth, to be fair, here. I'm not sure what season changes you guys get your side, but anyway, do have yourselves a nice change of seasons anyway. This show is not about change of seasons. This show is about synthesizers and drum machines and sequencers and samplers, music technology, things like that, stuff that you can see in this studio here as a home studio, and lots more. This week's topic, we're going to ask the question, do we need to clone vintage digital samplers? And we'll get to that a bit later on, and we're going to have our regular segments coming up first. But before we get on to all of that, we're going to introduce our guests. We're going to talk to the Chatties. We're going to do a whole bunch of stuff. So buckle in, hold on to something, and sit back, and hopefully you guys will enjoy the show. First off, let's start off with a couple of housekeeping things. Obviously, we'd love your support if you can for the channel. It's been going for over 5 years now, and these things do cost money to keep going. So a couple of ways you can support me is through being a channel member, where you can go on to Patreon, patreon.com/Ranzee, and you can support me that way. Or you can do super chats. And a good way to sort of get your point across, I think, during the show, if you really want to, is chuck a super chat in, and we'll pick it up straight away for you. Now, other than that, you can also join us on the show too if you want. It's free to join us. You can join us through Zoom. There is the link there. It's also pinned in the live chat. So please feel free to join us. You don't have to show your face. You can just have your audio if you like. We've done that before with a couple of people. So and you're free to come and go as you please as well. So that is that. And of course, during the week after the show's finished, you'd like to continue the chat, we also have our Discord server. That is not the button. That is the button. There we go. And that is the address for the Discord server if you're wondering on how to get there. All this stuff, by the way, is pinned in the description of the video below if you are watching this on replay. So don't worry if you can't click on these links that you're seeing pop up on the screen. Just scroll down and you'll find them nice and easy. Discord is a pretty good platform, I feel, at the moment. It's still not too bad. It hasn't been overtaken and overrun with pop-ups and ads and things like that yet. I feel like it's probably going to happen though. But for now, we're happy where we are. So continue the chat on the server. That is that. What else can we talk about? We can definitely talk about saying a big hurrah to members who have joined us and are supporting us during this sort of stuff. So not that one, this one. Big thank you to these people, our Patreons. And you can see there, big hello to all of those guys. Some of them I haven't seen for a little while, so it'd be nice to see you guys jump back. And these are the YouTube channel members. Now, you'll see the YouTube channel members in chat. I'll show you the chat in a sec. These guys have got little Synth Geekery icons next to the name. There are different colors. Those different colors represents their longevity in the super chat world. So there you go. Right, let's go across to 6 Up. We've got one person missing. Hopefully Andy's okay. And can't remember, did he say he wasn't going to be with us this week? Haven't really heard. I did chat to him briefly yesterday on his stream. Anyway, we'll figure it out. Maybe he slept in. Anyway, there's a spot up the top right-hand corner if anyone wants to join us on Zoom. But before we do any of that, let's say hello to our video guests, and we'll start off with Daren, I guess. Daren, are you ready, bud? Yep, you're ready. Here he goes. Daren, how's your week been?
Hey. Okay, I think. The studio's just a mess. I need to spend a good day or more clearing up. Just got stuff business everywhere, and it's just like, and it's just, I don't know. Things are not neat, and You can't see it actually because behind it doesn't look too bad, but in front of me here, it's just I just put stuff down to use and then leave it wide up and then just move the wires out, connect something else, put things. It's just a mess. So yeah, what have I been? Oh, I've been doing a bit of a Chris thing. I've been doing a sort of. Oh, I can't show you much, but it's a test rig actually. A test rig for some live stuff. So I'm just
prototyping. Excellent.
Yeah, yes, definitely, Chris. A proper bit of like some of what you'd do prototyping, but probably not with his technical know-how as you. So yeah, it's something I've come up with another idea. So I'm just trying some stuff out, and that's my test rig saves trying to set it up all on the live rig, and then finding it not work. So I'm going to do it in miniature and see if it works how I want it to. And if it does, then I've got to build it for big. But that's all I've been doing, really. That and doing just bits of my live set, even though I'm not playing live, as I keep saying. People will be playing live by the time I get around to it. But yeah,
yeah, that will.
It's yeah, no, it's all. Other than that, that's basically what I've been doing most of the week, working and making a little test rig. And finishing off the KBW set. It's finished now. I'm just going through it all, EQing it and making it so that it's live playable. And then I was also working on possibly doing the track that I did for the collaboration with Inky. I'm turning that into a live version so it can be played live. Cool. With some extra little bits for live, so it'll be completely different for live play, but it'll still be that cool jam, but it'll be alive. And with this test rig that I'm doing, which is going to be part of the set, so it'll be like I don't know what, Inky big rig. So yeah, it'll be quite interesting when it's finished. Other than that, that's it.
Very good, awesome. We'll skip over Andy's spot and we'll go straight to Ian. Ian, how are you?
Good afternoon, good evening, good night, good morning. Yes, so good week really. Been working on a couple of tracks, which will be a single, probably towards the end of the year. Not me, but a band. I've been trying to learn more about Logic Pro actually, because I spend so much time in Reaper, and I know Reaper really well and all the shortcuts. I don't really know Logic Pro very well, so I'm doing both of these tracks in Logic Pro, which is a bit of a learning curve. I'll say that. I mean, I know the basics, but I don't know where the shortcuts are. Went to a gig on Thursday night. Went to see Banco de Gaia, who I believe lives locally. Electronic artist. It was his album launch. It was a good night actually. It was a really good night. And more of these synth covers have turned up. So I've now got one for the Lyra 8, which they've made specially, if you like. They don't normally do a Lyra 8 cover, so I sent them the dimensions, and they made it for me, which is brilliant. So about another 5 of them turned up. So yeah, and tonight I'm off to the Clinker Club.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I was going to say, because I might get some of those synth covers.
I'll send you the detail. Yeah, it's Anne's Tweeds, but I'll send you a link to talk to them. They're really nice people, very accommodating, and reasonably priced. Really, that's £25, I think.
Yeah, and because I need quite a few of these stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I've got most of them now, but I've got about another 5 or 6 that I still want. So I need to sort that out, really. So yeah, no, they're great actually. I like the fact that there's a Velcro thing at the back, so you can leave things connected, and you just open the flap at the back. Brilliant, really. Yeah, and so tonight I'm off to something called the Clinker Club, which was a handmade poster. So it just didn't just lying around Frome, and it says it's weird, so it sounds right up my street actually. So yeah, Clinker Club, I'll let you know next week what it's all about.
Fabulous. Awesome. And we'll head over to Chris. G'day, Chris. How's your week
G'day,
been?
everyone. Oh, my week's been a little bit like last week, so a bit of a SHIT storm. Yeah, the saga continues. What happened this week was that the printer died, so we had to get a new printer. And then there was an update for our streaming TV box that crashed our streaming TV box to factory defaults, and I had to set that up again from defaults. On top of all of that, our Wi-Fi isn't very reliable, so you can imagine trying to do this kind of support stuff over unreliable Wi-Fi. So, yeah, a bit tense this week, but a couple of good things. The stand for my little Ambient Zero is complete.
Cool.
Very swish.
It's quite nice. Turned out rather well. And I always like picking up 3D prints from my friend because I get to spend time with my friend, and we geeked out about SpaceX and Polaris Dawn launches and whatnot. I can show you some better pictures of that, actually. I'll just pop over here. F2, yes. We got next. Hit the source. Next. So it's a bit of a close-up on anyone. That's kind of what it looks like. There you go. So you've seen that now. Yeah, what else did I do? There was a Polyend tracker update which I played with today, which was quite cool. It forced me to get the MIDI worked out. It's funny how sometimes you try things and then you're not really serious about it, and then you think, I haven't really tried that seriously. But this time I got it worked out where the MIDI settings were and got it all working. I can even show you a bit of a demo of some of the MIDI stuff on the Polyend tracker later today if we have any time, because it's going, so it's quite cool. Apart from that, what did I do? Well, the name that synth, yes, I haven't got it to you this week, unfortunately, it's due to the mentalness of this week. But I have recorded the music, if you can call it that. I've recorded the sound and I've shot the video footage, so I just need to put it all together into a name that's synth segment, and then it'll be ready next week, pretty sure. So that's pretty much me for this week.
Perfect. And we got through everyone, except I have a little surprise for everyone, and that is that Andy's rocked up.
Hey.
Hey.
Are we okay?
Andy.
We're good.
Yeah, wait.
You guys are right. Good. Yeah, sorry, my alarm didn't go off, so I got up on my own steam.
Oh,
Well done.
So yeah, know how I did it. Don't ask me how I did it.
The Saturday morning biological clock kicked in.
Yes.
Well, it's like panic. It's almost like you missed school or you missed some important. Whoa, what happened? Oh, shit. There's an alarm. Oh. So, yeah. Even more of a bedhead than usual, but nothing exciting this week other than I did back on the demo thing. I did a JP8000 demo the other day. That was about a year there, Ranzee. So thanks for showing up for that. That's kind of about it. I don't even know what the hardware jam topic is for this week, so I'm sure I'll do one of those. But other than that, it's not much else going on.
Well, that's okay. No problems. You're allowed to have not much going on. I do recommend, though, that everyone that's on the stream, you go check out their YouTube channels, because, we should send some love their way, because they do come in on the show voluntarily and give their free time up. So I think that's the least we can do, isn't it? Watch their streams, watch their shows, stuff like that. Give them a thumbs up. In fact, give us a thumbs up now if you want to. If you don't want to, that's fine. Give us a thumbs down.
You don't need to even watch it. Just put it on play and then bugger off and do something else.
That's true. Yeah. Actually, that's one of the
watch time in there. Yeah.
That is actually one of the good things about YouTube Premium that I like, is that you can actually put videos on and minimize them.
Nice. And they.
So you can actually watch. You're not watching them in your car, but you can actually play the audio in your car, and So, Daren's channel is quite
Yeah,
good
for
for that.
podcasts, it's unbeatable. You don't even have to see the screen most of the time.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
listen.
You could just listen to people chatting. Yeah, awesome. In fact, there's probably people in the chat who will say right now that's exactly what they're doing. So that's fine. And I don't blame you for not wanting to look at my ugly face anyway.
Yeah, my bedhead. Yeah.
Speaking of chatties, let's say g'day to all the chatties. We're going to do a quick sweep through this week, but obviously big special mention to all the channel members who are here. We've got David, who you guys see as Ace of Stripe. We've got Keith in Watford, Brooksy, Andrew Brooks, and we've got Kent Spong and Kissing the Machine. And it's nice to have all you guys in there, and I don't know if I've missed anyone. And obviously you will see Chris Maikshifter's in there as well. Human Errors there. Nice to have you. And I think I saw someone else pop in a bit earlier. Did I or not? It doesn't matter. Anyway, the person that gets the Guernsey this week, I think, is probably Keith in Watford. He gets to wear the yellow Guernsey and ride it round as if he's playing Tour de France. I don't know. If he wants to wear his spandex, he can. No one will judge him.
Too much information.
It's really nice to have everyone else. A couple of random names, just picking out a random Wagoo. Big hello to you. Failed Muso, which is Robbie Puricelli, as you guys know from the Pro Synth Network. Big hello to you. And who else? Babs is there. Lady Aptitude. ASIO Head. Big hello to you. And if I have missed anyone, I do apologise, but we do have to get on with the show. And you guys can see your name scrolling there anyway. Don't be so precious. Don't be so precious. If you want some attention, do a super chat or something. Right, okay. We can get stuck into the show, and we have a big show today. So let's mosey on. Mosey on.
Lean in, everyone.
Yes, and as I say every week, now I'm glad Kent is here. Now hopefully he's still listening and watching. This one is for you, buddy. This meme is for you. It has nothing to do with synths. It is just for you, mate. I thought of you when I saw this today, and I thought I'll chuck it in. He's not there, of course, is he? He probably doesn't even know I've done it.
He was.
He was though, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Casually.
Someone
Casually
slap him.
observing.
Hang on, let's see if we can. Is he still? Yeah, he's there. Yeah, he's there. He's there. Good boy. Okay, what else we got? This one here is some interesting stuff. This is the world's largest subwoofer. And I was just thinking, imagine the doof-doofs on this baby. Okay?
Well, it's the Back to the Future scene, right?
Well, I actually got this for Daren because I thought if Rave wants to borrow this,
Yes,
he would love it, I think.
God, he would love that. Yeah, yeah, definitely.
He'd
He'd
put
have
his
a pair
face
of
in
them.
those He'd put his face in those ports, I bet.
I tell you what, though, that lovely young lady would not be smiling like that if that thing was actually playing.
If it was switched on, yeah, she'd be running for her life.
She would not be. There'd be some brown matter coming out. Anyway, let's keep going. This one, I think, was Keith and Watford's submission. 10 years into subtractive synthesis. 10 minutes into FM. Where's Robbie? Robbie, you're not the god of FM, but I just thought,
He's the nearest thing.
Speaking of Robbie, I think this next meme's from him. This is for Daren. This one, Daren. I'll read this out to you. An Essex girl goes to council to register for child benefit. How many children? Asks the council worker. 10, replies the Essex girl. 10, says the council worker. What are their names? I'm not doing accents, by the way. Daren, and Daren. It doesn't get that confusing. Nah, says the Essex girl. It's great because they're all out playing in the street and all I have to do is shout out, Daren, and your dinner's ready. Or, Daren, go to bed, and they all do it. What do you do if you want to speak to one of them individually, says the council worker. That's easy, she says the Essex girl. I just use their surname.
Ouch.
Oh, that is a good one. Sorry to all the Essex people.
Yeah.
Anyway. We don't usually do jokes on this show, but I thought because it had Daren everywhere, I just thought, God, I've got to show Daren.
I thought you were on the line before with that meme, but then you said, I'm going to read this out for you, Daren.
Yeah.
As if he can't read. And I thought, wow, he's gone too far now.
Oh, don't drop me in that.
This minute?
Do not drop me in that. This one came from Robbie Puricelli. This one is, maybe my argument will make more sense if I run it through some of these sick effects pedals.
Says every product demoer in history.
So maybe my synth might sound better if I run it through Strymon Big Sky.
Yeah.
Well, it's like the argument: if you scream louder, you're going to win, right? So.
That's it. I think that's it. Where are we with memes? I need to click on the button here, double check. That is it. There's 5 of them, so please tell us which one was your favourite. Was it Poopy Dog? Was it... God, what did we have? I've forgotten now. Subwoofer, the FM guy, Daren's joke, or was it this one you're looking at right now? There we go.
It's difficult.
Chatties are in already. We've got some answers in already. Pick up your dog. Everyone likes Poopy Dog. 10 times Daren. Whoa, a couple of 10 times Daren. Babs is going with the pedals. I think it might be Poopy Dog. What are you guys going to
have to go for Poopy Dog?
What are you guys going for?
I'm going to go for Poopy Dog.
Well, that genuinely may be.
I guess
I'll go with the flow.
I think the Essex girl joke is a bit on the nose, shall we say.
Oh, someone's getting a bit butthurt over the Essex joke.
I'm just a lad from Essex.
Oh, mate, there was a ton of those jokes in this particular pool that I was looking at, and a lot of them were Irish, and I thought, geez, they have so many jokes against them, those poor fellas. Anyway, and some of them are actually written by Irish people, which is kind of bizarre. But anyway, that's how it is.
Well, I'm part Irish, but I don't fit the stereotype, so I have to go.
I'm part Irish too. So. I'm a quarter Irish. My grandmother's side. I
think we've probably got a bit of Irish in us somewhere. I forget which side. I think it's my mum's side of the family. Right. That's good. We'll go with Poopy Dog. See, Kent, you created a good meme. Well, you didn't create it, but you created the energy for it. Right. Daren had enough of poop, he says in chat. Let's keep going. We should check out some news this week. I guess you guys are going to pretty much guess what the first one's going to be.
Yeah.
Yep. Gee, what a surprise. I kind of knew about this, by the way. I kind of knew about it. No one told me, though, but I just had this feeling that they were going to bring out a little sampler because they've got so many... You know, the SP404, you know, there's so many little sampling products that they've got.
Well, the next one is a little MX5, isn't it? Awesome. A little mixer.
Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So you can mix a lot together.
Yeah.
I hope it's better than the Korg mixer, Volca mixer.
That Volca mixer with only 3 channels. Yeah,
that was pants.
It's terrible.
Let's have a little listen to what Roland have to say anyway.
Hi. Dustin from Roland, here to show you the AIRA Compact P-6 Creative Sampler, a small but mighty powerhouse of sampling and sound design with a remarkable range of capabilities. The P-6 is the latest addition to the AIRA Compact line, the powerful, fun, affordable AIRA instruments that put Roland's legendary sounds in the palm of your hand. The P-6 is a sampler that celebrates classic sampling techniques, fused with a modern approach using granular sample processing to create new textures from slivers of sound. It can capture audio at various sample rates through analog inputs, USB-C, and the built-in microphone. It can also internally resample to rinse and repeat for further sound design. To streamline your workflow, the P-6 sample tool allows for editing and importing samples from Mac or PC. Each sample also has its own multi-mode filter, amp and pitch envelopes, and more. Repitch, chop, reverse, and loop samples to transform them from their original state to an entirely new vibe. Bring patterns to life with the 64-step polyphonic sequencer, featuring real-time end-step recording, motion recording, probability, microtiming, substeps, and more. The MFX section offers a wide palette of effects for both live performance and resampling. There's also a dedicated delay and reverb with individual send amounts per pad. Getting started.
All right, there we go. So let's have a chat about it. Before we do though, just cross over to the chat land and just recognise that Kent has popped in a fantastic 20-pounder. And he says, I think this has just prevented me from buying a Polybrew 12. So
after the dog did. Yeah. Dog dropped a 20-pounder and now he has.
Wow. Thanks very much, Kent. That was much appreciated. Do keep the super chats coming, though, because we'll cross straight away to them and we'll definitely let you guys know what they're on about. The P6. Okay, so first impressions. What do you guys want to just talk about here?
I almost bought one.
Yeah?
Ooh.
Yeah, I was looking on Toman because I need to buy some bits and pieces. And I thought, shall I buy one? I don't need it. But and that's what stopped me. I have to say, I watched Lupop's video and I was much more interested in the granular synth element of this because it's almost like 2-in-1. But I think for the price, it's an if you haven't got a sampler or a granular synth, then it's a no-brainer. I think it's brilliant. I mean, I like the S1, but you have to get used to the form factor. It's small and menu divey a bit and all that sort of stuff. But they're great, actually. The whole series is great.
Very
But
good.
No, in the end, I didn't buy it.
Obviously. $220, by the way, is the price.
Yeah.
So anyone else want to talk about their feelings about this?
Actually, this caught me by surprise. I wasn't ready for it.
Well, go Darren first, Andy, and then I'll go you next. Okay.
Oh, good, yeah.
I think like Ian says. I mean, the great because I've got those two, and I think they're great little things, but they're doing well at making compact little tiny, like taking Volca over type thing. But as Ian says, it's sort of like I was like, oh yeah, and I thought I don't really need it though. But like he says, if you want to have a sampler just to take out with you and just mess about with, it's a great little thing. So I'm actually going to give a thumbs up to Roland for these because they're great little things. But at the end of the day, it's like I don't want to be buying it for the sake of it. I don't necessarily need it for in the studio. I mean, I suppose if it was taken out and part benching, that'd be great. But like I say, it's a great little thing. So yeah, thumbs up. But I'm gonna save money because I don't actually need a sampler. I've got plenty of samplers. And the granular thing, as Ian said, I'd probably go for a lemon drop on the granular side if I was doing anything like that. It's more expensive, but if you was going granular, that'd be the reason you'd be going.
Got a lot more going for it, hasn't it?
Whereas this is a nice little sampler. Yeah. So that's if I was going for a small, compact granular. But yeah, thumbs up to Roland. That's all I can say.
Yeah,
nice little boxes. It's just how long the battery lasts. I know it's a recharge one. Should last for a long time. I wonder if you can replace them. The thing is, you got to remember to keep them charged or at least half charged. Don't just stick them away in the corner.
Yeah, they're saying about 3 hours of mobile music production.
Yeah, I mean, how long does the actual rechargeable battery last in itself? Constantly recharging it before you start going.
So it depends on what type of lithium, circuitry they've got in there. But you're probably going to say safely about 5 years. Lithium does have a fairly decent lifespan. So yeah, I give him a thumbs up.
And then you just got to keep it plugged in.
You've got big fingers. Yeah, you're gonna have to.
It's safe to keep it plugged in as well. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Andy, you're going to make a comment. Thanks, Darren.
Oh yeah, just so I like the Rolkas. I mean, I have pretty much the whole Volca collection. So luckily the guys didn't grab that bag. I had a whole case full of Volcas, and they walked right by it. They also walk right by my little case of my growing Roca collection. So I have like 2 or 3 of those right now. So I definitely would like to add this one, although they are very fiddly because the Rolcas are actually smaller than the Volcas. So everything's more crammed in there. So if you hate the Volca being small and fiddly as it is, probably won't like the Roland version because they did, especially this one. This one's very busy, as you can see in the picture up there.
Yep.
But yeah, the features sound good. I've yet to watch. This is the first time I saw a demo because I'm behind on some of this new tech that came out. But it's definitely on my list. I mean, I'm broke right now, but I mean, I would get one as soon as I have some money because it's cool stuff. And they just like the Volcas, they all patch well together very easily with the sync through and the audio through. So you can have a massive chain, just like you do with guitar pedals. And but in this case, you can also sync it as well, which is cool.
Because you've got forward loop, reverse, alternate loop, chop and slice, all that sort of stuff that you kind of would expect a sampler to have. Which, when you think about it, I mean, $220 US, right? It's pretty cheap. The sample, there's a bunch of different sample rates on this thing as well. There was, if I remember rightly, somewhere written here. Where was it? Where did I see that?
11, 22, 33, and 48.
4 different sampling rates: 44.1, 22, 14.7, and 11.
Oh.
Yeah. Yep.
I got 11.
They're well built too, but one more thing about the power. I wish it wouldn't just force you down a rechargeable only route.
But if you are,
it sucks to have to charge it. You know, before you go anywhere. Put a little battery receptacle at the bottom. Use nickel metal hydrides, and then you can throw in alkalines if you have to in an emergency. Don't force us to use a stupid lithium battery.
I don't mind. To be fair, I don't mind. I mean, I've got a lithium battery in my MPC Live, and it works fine.
No, I know, but you do mind if you forgot to charge it. You need to use it, right? So.
Yeah, it's true.
But don't forget too, though, USB-C. Like I mean, I could plug this in my car,
exactly.
right? So my car's got USB-C in it.
There's just no infinite number of charging points.
One thing I wanted to mention, that the sample engine in this, it kind of carries through some of the similarities with some of the other Roland recent, like the MC series and things like that, where you can do things like mono sampling, and you can get at 11K, you can get 23 seconds, which is pretty cool. So, it's using those sort of tricks with the processor and the sampling. You can do things like that. One of the other things I liked about it too was I liked how it gave you a couple of different options. The first thing that I thought, actually I should say this, the first thing that I saw when I saw this was, is this a sampler or is this a sample player? Because I was going to lose my shit if it was another sample player. But as soon as they said it can sample, it's got a microphone, it has a built-in line in, and you can sample through the USB-C connection, I went, yes, this is good. It's
got a whole lot of other quite cool sampling features as well, like the sample a certain number of things in a row with one process. I thought was really
some intuitive stuff.
Yeah,
when you think about it, like Daren, hold up your one of your little pocket ones just so that people can see, right? When you think about it, like that is only a little bit bigger than the size of his hand. You could chuck that, if you had a fairly decent size cargo pants, you could chuck that in your pocket, right? And you literally have probably one of the most portable samplers out there that you can actually use to sequence and groove and stuff like that. What's that in comparison to, Daren? You muted, by the way.
iPad, isn't it?
iPad.
Right.
So you've got iPad and
So it's what, a quarter of the half the size of an iPad? Yeah.
Third.
About a
third.
Yeah, about a third.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it fits 2 on the back of an iPad.
Who's buying one?
I think I might. The sound quality is very good. So.
The only thing I'll say about these is if you're a noob, right, and it's my first day, so I'm a noob every day, but if you're a noob, these will only ever sound as good as the factory presets that are in them or the samples that you put on them. That's the only thing I'll say about these things. And yes, there is some synthesis stuff on here too, so I'm not going to split hairs, but any type of sample player are only ever going to be as good as how you manipulate them. So, if you're good at this stuff,
exactly.
I just wish I know it costs more money, but I just wish they have a better than the LED screen You know that.
I think that's a
that's
power. I think that's a power thing, though.
That's what Lupop
Yeah,
said.
I
He said
understand
he could
that.
prefer if it was split into two.
Yeah, because I mean, it's like the MC303, that type of screen. I just don't get on with them very well. But I understand why it's there, so I'm not dissing it for that. I'm just saying.
Also, like Daren showed, if you don't like the tiny knobs, get those caps you slide over the tops. You know,
Yeah,
easier to use.
Yeah, that's much better.
They're jamming quite a lot of the Roland algorithms in here. Like there's some multi-effects stuff in there, like DJ FX loopers and stoppers and lo-fi scales. Like you're getting some of the older IRA gear in there. What are you showing, Chris?
First of all, size comparison between the
6S, yeah,
the series and 6S drum machine. The first thing I thought of when I saw this P6 was, ooh, would it kind of replace one of these? How does it compare to one of these? Because this is obviously only playback only, but of course you can load as many samples as you want into it using the SD card. Whereas the P6 obviously is a different sort of basis of it's a different range, so it has a different
you can't beat
vibe.
the sliders on that thing. That thing's cool with the sliders.
It is very,
it's quality.
Yeah, as I said, but there are things that I like about that you will see in this, such as the MFX section. It's probably not as comprehensive as the MFX section in this, which I think is kind of a hidden tool. You really, if you delve deeply into it, there are a lot of settings in those individual effects, and if you willing to spend the time, you can start to make your samples sound like no one else's, which I quite like about it. So this one probably won't go as deep, but it does have, I mean, I like the way that I feel as though they did understand that this is around when they made this and designed it, because I reckon they thought, let's concentrate on the sampling side of this and make that unique. And I think they've succeeded, because definitely I can imagine using this and this thing at the same time.
Does this
And
allow
that's
you to resample with
that's
effects?
success, I think, yeah. So
Yes, you can resample. Yep.
You can resample.
Yes.
That's great.
Yes, you can resample, and you can. The only thing I thought was a bit, and I haven't watched Lupop's full video yet, or Roland's full tutorial video, but I thought the way you can print the effects, but it's not the way you would in a DAW, where you just say, okay, bounce. No, you have to go through the whole record scenario to bounce it, and it's one of those things where I'm just going.
I like that though.
Red flag.
No, I like that though because it ain't a DAW. So I would expect a DAW to bounce, but I would expect this to be a recording type thing, and that to me that makes logical sense. Because here we go. I'm going to play this, and I'm going to resample it with the MFX, whatever I've stacked onto it. I'm recording. I'm re-recording it, or I'm overdubbing it, or whatever.
And you've got a point too, because that does mean that you can perform over the top of it.
Yep.
Because it's real-time bouncing instead of... but still, I reckon, how many times would you have a sound and you've applied one M effect to it, like a one-shot, like a drum sound, for example, and then you're like, okay, that's cool, now I want to get the phaser onto this. How do I do that? Oh, it'd be really cool if I just had a button where I could just say apply that effect, and then you could put and it wouldn't be that much.
I think it'd be cool, but I think we're kind of, this thing's a baby.
Yes, no,
right?
this is a compliment, because this is the only thing so far that I found. Oh, that would have been nice if it did that. It's a bit disappointing. It's like everything else.
Yeah, you see, we're having a little
nice.
dig at them, but like with me with the screen and things. But
yeah,
they
there's
actually
little
like
things,
the
aren't
actual
they?
unit. It's great. So we've got.
It's like it's like we're just saying these are the reasons why we're not going to buy one tomorrow, but it's probably not going to stop us from buying it the day after.
I'll probably get one. I actually love it. I'm
look on next week.
Samplers to me are a bit like phaser pedals. I love samplers.
Yes. They are so much fun.
Yeah.
All right, I'm a sample person. That's basically where I live in sample.
We should probably move on to the next. But I knew this thing would definitely spruik a few years. And I definitely think the Chatties were kind of reiterating some of these points. So most of us have checked out Lupop's video and a few others, and we've seen it. But yeah, that's good. And
do they have a quick effect button like they have on this guy, where you can turn it on and off at will?
Oh, that's the Chaos.
Because you have a
isn't
lock
it?
on
Yeah.
this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a little lock button on here, so you can turn it on and off, so you don't have to touch it all the time. Is there like a quick?
I
effects button on
don't
here,
know
like
it that well, mate. To know, but
I didn't look at the whole interface yet. so I don't
yeah,
know.
I mean that Roland video is actually quite comprehensive, and I think they've got 2 other videos on their channel. Maybe it might show it in there. Looking at if you just look at those bits of printing on the panel there, you could probably work out most of the stuff there. There is a bit of menu diving. Maybe it might be a convoluted thing, but maybe with the looping and the resampling. I don't know. Not
So
sure.
you want to turn on and off at will to get the power. So
Yeah. All right. Let's go to the next. Now, the next product, I don't know if you guys have... we haven't shown this company's stuff for a while in terms of mixing stuff. And I actually think this is pretty cool. This is called the Livetrak L6. And the Livetrak L6 is... I think you can only get this in Japan at the moment. It will come out to the rest of the world pretty soon. It's a whole battery powered. Like, this thing is actually pretty tiny. So if you want to sort of get an idea of how small this is, look at the size of the XLR connectors. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what you're looking at here is 32-bit digital mixer and a recorder built in with float support and on the go. It offers 10 channels consisting of 2 XLRs, as you can see, with mic line inputs and stereo pairs of 1/4 inch line inputs. You also get stereo aux send and a master stereo output and a headphone monitor socket as well. And you guys can see all that on there. But on top of that, you also get MIDI, you get USB. Now, the USB connectivity is USB-C, I think it is, if I remember rightly. Anyway, let me talk a little bit about the features of this. So, 48-volt phantom volt on the XLRs. I forget this thing's battery powered, right? So, each channel offers hands-on channel strip controls, including level, pan, aux 1 and aux 2, and a 3-band EQ with adjustable mids. The previous Livetrak products also, you might remember, have the multi-track channel recording, I should say. This also does. This has up to 12 tracks simultaneously recording on a micro SD card. And it supports 32-bit float recording as well. This way you don't have to check if you're too hot on your signal during the jam, because there's no clipping. And I love that 32-bit float. So that, if you guys remember that, I think that came from was that a Steinberg Cubase invention? I think so. Anyway, someone will probably correct me if I'm wrong. Or it was in, I think it first appeared in Cubase, I think. Anyway, not a major issue.
Yes.
So there's actually a sample player and a MIDI interface on this as well. So you get 5 internal send effects, and you get MIDI support. So trying to work out what the MIDI was for again. I think it's so that you can control this with a controller, a remote controller, and things like that.
Break out the controls.
Yep. So yeah, USB-C. Sorry, I said that before. And there is a Mac and Windows and iOS companion app for this. The device is powered by 4 AA batteries or an AC adapter, or you can use a mobile battery via the USB-C connection. So you can just use one of those little bricks and power it that way. And it's only $300.
Wow.
That's
Right,
good.
Christmas card. That's on my Christmas gift.
That's insane.
It's,
That is absolutely insane.
it's pretty
I mean, I would definitely buy one of these as soon as they're available, because I would get it to replace my. When I go and do the EMOMs and do gigs, I use the R16. Yeah, R16, which is a Zoom. I've always liked these sort of Zoom mixers recorders. That's much smaller, so because that takes up half my case. I only need 6 channels. I don't need, don't need 16 channels. That's absolutely brilliant. I also
Yeah.
like the fact that
The stereo.
if you look at channel 3, so you can record 2 mono inputs at the same time. So 2 mono synths could go into that.
Yep.
Yeah.
As well as stereo. It's brilliant. It's
Yeah, because you're
And the price is
multi-tracking
fantastic.
onto the SD
Yeah,
card.
do it
Yeah.
on-
Yeah.
If anyone
So
wants to know
sometimes
specs, shout out and ask me what they are. I've got the specs in front of me on my screen here. So
I
if you
have
want to
the
know what the total impedance is, if you want to know anything like
Bus
that.
compressor too. Bus compressor.
Recording format, 48 kilohertz. Record on 4 gig to 32 gig class 10 or higher, or that's with the HC SD type cards. The XC you can record up to 1 terabyte.
Wow.
There's 4 output channels too. So for those people who own Akai Force, Akai MPC, you can use this as a class compliant audio interface, and you will get 4 output channels as well as the 12 input channels. It's USB 2.0, by the way. Now, a lot of people will go, you've probably heard me talk about, if you're not new to my channel, you'll know that I'm a big fan of RME products, and RME are a big believer in, we don't really need to go to USB 3 or any higher for audio related tasks, because the actual USB 2.0 spec is actually pretty decent enough as a bit rate to handle this stuff. So don't be too disappointed that it's USB 2.0. Just remember, this thing's only handling 12 channels, 4 out, 12 in. It's only 48K, so it's not a 96. It's not any higher. It's not 192 or anything like that. Some people will probably think, oh, it's only 48K. That's not that great. That's just the audio interface. Okay, so obviously you can record through the master out onto whatever you want. It's not going to be 48K there. Okay. Frequency response is 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz, so that's kind of normal, which is probably, to be fair, it's probably a little disappointing. What else was I going to say? Oh, battery time with alkaline batteries about 3 hours, with a lithium battery about 7 hours.
Brilliant.
There's also a phantom power off as well. 63 ohms load on the headphones, if you're wondering about headphone type. Because sometimes you if you buy, like, for example, the Biodynamics, they have different ohm ratings, right? So
high impedance headphones,
high impedance. Yep. Okay, so the mic lines are standard with 3.8K or higher on the XLR as ohms impedance, right? And then the lines are 10K ohms with plus 9 dBu, sorry, on that.
Brilliant.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
What was the other thing I was going to say about this was the size, right? So the size, that's actually why I put this thing up, is 223 millimeters by 114 millimeters. Right, now, Daren, how big is that Roland S1 you've got there?
Without a tape measure, it's hard to say.
Oh, Chris might have one.
Yeah.
I've got a tape measure. Let me get me S1.
I reckon this
That's
thing's
about, what is it, 20 centimetres by 14 centimetres, basically.
22 centimetres by 14.
Yeah, I bet it's not far off that, then.
That's
I bet it's a
the
little
end
bit
of my
bigger.
finger is 22 centimeters.
Hang on, let me just get you full screen, Chris. So it's slightly longer than the S.
That finger.
Than the
that's what I'm
Roland.
saying, that
Yeah.
ends. So it's
And the
about-
height?
About
Yeah.
an inch. What was it? 100 and
11.4 millimeters high. Sorry, 11.4 centimeters high.
11
So 18.5
11.
centimeters wide, long.
only a little bit higher.
Okay,
And
so
that much higher than this guy.
it's
fit right in,
completely that is actually completely unrelated, right? But this little mixer would be perfect for your little
it's-
Roland AIRA compact range.
It only comes out.
It just
with
kind of
that much
sits
feather.
in nicely. Roland need to make a little mini MX1, don't they? And M1.
So do.
They do.
Yes. An M1, yes.
What you a bat, Ranzee? What does that mean? I don't know what that means. Anyway,
what you about? What you about, Ranzee?
What you about, governor? I'm not sure. Anything else you guys want to know about this?
I think it's brilliant. I want one.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I didn't
It
know
would be
about
handy
it.
for me.
I didn't even know these kind of things existed until I think Ace of Strike mentioned it in one of the streams he was on. And
Well,
I thought that would
Zoom
actually
have
be
always
really
done
handy.
sort of thing. I remember a long time ago, I think it was called an R8 or something 8, which was a 6-channel mixer and built-in drum machine and bass player years ago. And it was brilliant. It wasn't, it's about that sort of size, really. So they've always done really interesting stuff in this market.
I just noticed it too. Those so the knobs down the bottom right, how you got the grey, the blue, the red, and the dark grey, right? They are actually that's not like a render color. They are actually colored. And I kind of feel like when people do sort of, industrial design, and they make little decisions like that, that's going to be really good for muscle and visual memory. Like you're going to go, okay, the red knob is the master. So I'm not going to mistake which one's which, because some manufacturers would have just made all of those knobs the same color.
Yes, so it looked pretty balanced. Yeah,
but I think it's
not
done
how you use it.
tastefully. I actually think, because if you look, there's a similar blue as a background across the EQ section and across the channel pot section. So you've got some sort of representation to all of those. Well, I mean, it's basically 3 colors. It's grey, blue, and red, right?
Yeah.
So you've got that representation.
They've used a color palette,
Yeah.
restricted color.
I actually think it looks really nice. Some of the photos on the Zoom website, which is a Japanese version, by the way, if you're trying to find it right now, is better than what I'm showing here. But I'm only showing you this one because you can see all the bits. And I was just trying to see if there's anything on the back.
Those the channels 1 to 6 that is listed there, I'm presuming they're little tiny LEDs, so you can see exactly where it is when you turn it.
Well, I guess.
Good question.
Are
they continuous rotaries?
I found a video. There's a Zoom video. Have you got that, Rance?
I'm trying to find it, mate. I'm just trying to find out where the SD card goes. There we go. So the SD card goes into the right-hand side. So where you've got the monitor section, it goes on the right-hand side.
Yeah. I'm glad they didn't put it on the side where the microphone inputs were.
And it's got a Kenton
power button. And the power button.
Thing. Yeah.
Yeah, they were thinking.
I've just put you the link in the private chat to the video.
Yeah, give me a second. I'll just grab that. Okay. Okay, we can do it.
But yes, Darren, you're right, because the picture on that shows the LEDs on the
because that's really handy. That
it is. Yeah, I mean, I've got an old H2 which is still working, and that's the only reason I haven't got rid of it. And this is small enough to take this and a small microphone, to do field recording.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect.
Let's have a quick look at this. USB-C, power only.
On the piano.
I just hope I might mute this because I hope I don't get a copyright claim on that music.
Yeah.
Let's turn the closed captions back.
Oh yeah, see that's
that's
better.
cool.
And,
yeah,
that's tasteful enough.
Yeah. Yep. These are obviously connecting it. I'm sure there was a photo somewhere where I saw. Oh, it does have little LEDs. You guys are right.
Yeah.
I thought that was just a graphic.
No, it's
print. That is
definitely-
actually really nice.
That's perfect.
That's brilliant.
Very pretty.
Yeah,
It's absolutely.
Yeah, it's cool. It's like this little fatty.
Mm.
Yes.
Okay,
makes
and
even-
what's the other bit that I wanted to see? So it has scenes because it's a digital mixer.
Yeah.
So that's actually cool. So you can actually set it up, Darren. Like you might have a couple of different live venues you play at, and you can set it up for different scenes.
Right. No, that's really useful.
That is really useful. It tells you how to use them here.
I think they've sold them
What's the price on this one?
to us all.
Yeah.
220.
Definitely.
What did I say? 220?
You said
No, 300.
Steal.
300.
$300.
300
Wow,
bucks.
Still good though.
Yeah,
It's still good price.
yeah. Oh, I think it's insane. Insane price.
So about two.
That's perfect.
Is it three?
I mean,
Yeah, about 250, 270 UK.
Someone
So, brilliant.
Someone put the price in chat before. I thought, or was that for the Roland thing? I can't remember now. Anyway, that's really good. Thanks for sharing that video. That was good. Awesome.
Yeah, I saw it that's on Synth Anatomy. So anybody wants to see it, read it. So yeah.
Oh, okay. I got an email from Zoom because I'm registered with them, and they always just send me my promotions column in my Gmail just gets flooded with crap. It's actually pretty handy though, because like most of the stuff I get is synth related. So I don't know why.
Yeah, the
it's
Synth Anatomy says,
I bought enough crap from them. I should be getting emails, but I don't.
well, me too. It says it's available soon. $299.99 US dollars. So
There you go.
brilliant.
Wow.
All right, let's move on to the next. The next thing is, you guys might remember a few weeks ago we showed Boredbrain's connectivity products. You guys remember it was there was some DB25 stuff. There was kind of like a whole bunch of stuff, right? This kind of, I don't know if it completes, but I think it kind of wraps up that sort of analog to digital connectivity for eurorack. So this is actually the Optx V2. So this is their second crack at this, by the way. And what you're seeing here is an 8 in and an 8 out digital interface for your eurorack. Cool. It is DC coupled. It obviously has audio and CV connectivity through each of the inputs and outputs. So you can use this through VCV rack and send CV to your gear, or vice versa. Send it into if you've got Bitwig or Ableton Live, which has got the the DC coupling VCV stuff in it. Obviously, it's light pipe, so ADAT. Because it's ADAT, it's 48K. So just remember that, because if it was less, if you wanted to have higher than 48K, you would lose the amount of channels. So it's just the way the protocol works, right? You can have less channels with higher audio bit rate, and more channels. I think the lowest you can go is 48K anyway. So I run all my RME DigiFace stuff at 48K. It's completely fine. Unless you're really being butthurt about wanting really high quality recording from something to something, then don't use that. Use something else to record straight out of one of your modules. But for CV duties, through DAW or for a computer, or even Darren, if you've got a push 3, you can actually connect this up to your push 3. And apparently,
I've not got a push 3.
You haven't, I know, but you might. Was what you were saying to me.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's. I was thinking of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's have a little look at the guy from Boredbrain anyway, because I think he has a few nice things to say about his product.
Hey everybody, it's Adam at Boredbrain. I'm incredibly relieved to finally announce that our next generation ADAT module, Optx V2, is complete and is on its way into production. As of today, you can pre-order the module, and the first batch will begin shipping very soon in mid-October. It took almost 2 years of relatively painstaking development to get here, with many not quite good enough prototypes, but in the end, after a complete redesign of the original Optx module, I believe we've achieved the best possible performance in 10 HP. Let me tell you about the module. Just like the original Optx, Optx V2 converts analog signals to and from 8-channel digital ADAT signals to be transferred over optical cables. So if your interface has one or more ADAT ports, you can essentially add extra channels between your DAW and eurorack system. Since it's fully DC coupled, the new module can carry both audio and CV signals in either direction, which is incredibly fun and powerful when used with software like Bitwig, Ableton Live, and VCV Rack. Optx V2 is also a great companion for Push 3, expanding its I/O into your eurorack system for sequencing, modulation, audio processing, and effects routing. There's so much you can do with this combination, and I'm still experimenting myself. With version 2, we focused heavily...
All right, well, that'll do for that, because I don't think we need to go into the nitty-gritties. But yeah, what do you guys think of the Optx V2 by Boredbrain? Price?
Very nice.
$369 US.
Yeah, that's kind of what their modules go for, isn't it?
So what's an Expert Sleeper's ES8 worth? And actually, technically, an ES8 is not as good as this because well, it's better in one degree and it's not as good in another. So it's better in one degree because it's got USB connectivity, so you can choose between ADAT or USB.
Yeah.
Class compliant audio. But it's not as good because it doesn't have 8 I/O. It only has 4,
6,
and
4.
8.
Okay.
So
4 and 8, okay.
Expert Sleepers ES8 is how much? Doesn't tell me there. But it tells me it's, what is that? 3. Yeah, it's probably similar price.
Okay.
749 Oz, which would probably be about what, $375 in British pounds. So this is probably on the slightly cheaper side. HP wise,
10.
Where are we? This is 10, and the Expert Sleepers is 8.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Is it 10? Oh, sorry, hang on.
He said it was 10.
Did he? Okay, cool.
Yeah, he said.
Yep.
It took us a while to get the prototypes right, and they weren't just quite close enough. They weren't quite good enough.
I think he was bigger on the previous version. I think they were bigger.
Yeah, probably was. Yeah.
Yep.
I think he had made a big deal of squeezing it into 10, I think.
Yeah.
I do like his background on his tabletop. I want that.
It's a bit Minecrafty, isn't it?
Yeah, very.
Yeah.
Except how long would you be blurring your eyes trying to work out what the picture is and going, I can't quite see it. It's random, you idiot.
Could be their logo or something. Where are we?
Message.
There it is, back. Anyone else want to talk about the Optx V2 before we move on to the next? Okay, I guess that's a no.
No.
Let's go to this. Michigan Synthworks, the MSW 830. I think I posted something about this while I was away in Discord. I missed it.
Yes.
Yeah, I missed out on seeing this. People are messaging me.
Oh, in the middle of the show.
Okay. Andy, I might just pop you up in the corner while I got you there, bud. Right, so the Michigan Synthworks MSW 830. This was shown at NobCon. Obviously, you guys have been keeping track of things that have been happening at NobCon, right? Michigan Synthworks is this is a mono synth, and you can see it's actually based on their 810, which they had previously. What was I going to say about the 830? It uses the 3340 oscillator, so this is a SH101 style sounding oscillator type synth. So you're going to get the performance features of that oscillator. So we don't need to go into it. Things like pulse width mod, FM, triangle, square, saw, all that sort of stuff, right? And you'll get a sub oscillator with it, but it also has a noise generator. It has the AS3109 filter chip, so it's a clone of the original vintage Roland synths that had the IR3109. If you like Jupiter, Juno, SH101, that sort of sounding filter, that's probably where you're going to go. I don't know if you can really say that like that because it's not quite true, but it'll be along those sort of lines. I mean, because if you actually ask Roland, and if you look at the schematics of a lot of those synths that I just named, they are quite different, some of those filters that I just named between those synths. But let's not split hairs.
Probably sound cleaner.
Yes. I mean, you're going to get a 4-pole low pass, a 4-pole band pass, a 3-pole high pass, and a phase on that particular chip. So, yeah. Now, Michigan Synthworks do quite a lot of cool stuff like this, by the way. Now, I think we did show, it would have been about like 4 months ago, we showed the prototype video when we were talking about this. So if you guys remember, it looks something like that. And they were playing... So you can get an idea of what it sounds like. Definitely SH101 he's sounding.
Juno. Yeah.
Anyway, so with that, we get 2 envelopes, a single LFO. I think you guys saw it. Let's go back to the graphic, actually. The mixing section, but you're getting 3 VCOs, right? So that's going to be the difference between that and an SH101, okay?
Yeah.
And that's going to be sounding quite thick. Yeah. Now, price, don't have one, but they're saying it's going to be approximately $800 US when it comes out. And they're looking at around about winter 2024. So we're kind of, what are we now? We're just heading into autumn, aren't we? So we're probably only a couple of months away from this being released.
Mm-hmm. Do we need another SH101 style synth? Although it's got 3 oscillators. And at $800, it's a bit pricey.
I think you'd really...
It doesn't float. It doesn't certainly float my boat. Yeah, well, I like sliders. The sliders, that's nice, and I don't want to,
They're great for mass changes. Like with knobs, you got to individually do stuff. But this, you can massively tweak huge sections and get really weird results.
Use your fingers sideways. Yep.
Yeah.
But they're not so fun for fine tuning. Knobs are better for the
correct.
Yeah. They're a little bit.
I mean, it's obviously taken a long time to get to this point.
Bump it slightly.
And I'm not wanting to be down on them, but it's really nothing new, is it?
I think it depends on whether you're a person who's gone, you know what, I really love this SH101, but I really wish it had 3 oscillators. I reckon that's what this is for.
Yeah, well,
I don't really think they want you to say it's an SH101. I think they probably want you to say it's probably more like
unique,
a Jupiter because it's got 3 oscillators. Right. It's probably not like a Juno because Juno's only got 1 oscillator. SH101's only got 1 oscillator.
Yeah, they want you to come down from the keyboard sort of side of it. So this is what's inspired by, not the other way around.
Yeah.
But even though that's kind of what Roland did to me.
Yeah, like Heathcliff said in chat, a Jupiter 1. Yeah. It's probably not a bad way to describe it.
That's probably a good way. In one voice of a Jupiter.
Is it 3 full control oscillators, or have they dumbed one of them down like other things do?
I believe it's actually 3 3340 chips, right?
Okay.
And because of that, each one of those oscillators is going to have a sub oscillator. So you really, I mean, technically you could actually have 6 voices in this, right? Because you've got your subs. Technically, it's going to sound pretty thick. I mean that's probably that's probably the selling point of this. It's a really thick sounding mono Jupiter-y sounding voice. It's got a few other features on it too, but we can't, I don't know, the stuff down the side and
with sub oscillators, it's nice to have a bypass, for example, so that you can throw your sub oscillators behind the filter, so you can use high pass type main noises, and then just have your subs come through unfiltered.
The thing
does it store anything, or is it fully where it's set?
It's set. it's what you're doing. It does have MIDI connectivity though. I don't know what sort of level of MIDI it is, whether it's just node on and velocity and things like that, right? But what I noticed is missing. I don't know if you guys know much about the Mystic and Synthworks stuff, but there used to be a sequencer, I think, on the 810. And I can't. I just pop Andy off for a sec, but I can't. I don't think that thing down the side is a sequencer. I think that's to do with connectivity and stuff. No, it's not. So that seems to be
LEDs.
Yeah. But anyway, what was the joke I did last week? Not another mono synth.
Yeah, well,
I did think of that.
It's already been said in the chat. Maui Beard said that. There's a plethora of mono synths out there, aren't there?
Yeah, the guy with the stripy shirt last week. That's the meme, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, that's good. I actually think, in terms of accessibility, knob per function, slider per function, we call it, right? It's really nicely laid out. But what do you call it? Ingenuity. It basically just reeks Roland design, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of traditional. Sure. It's traditional, but good traditional.
What tricks has it got up its sleeve other than just mixing 3340 oscillators together? That's kind of where we want to go with this. That's what we want to know. Like maybe they should have put an SH5 filter on it. Maybe they should have put an SVF type filter on there, like a SH5 with the other one, the low pass that it's got. Maybe they should have left a sequencer on there.
No patch
for $800. They should have probably done a few things like that, right?
No patching as well. No patch.
Yeah, there's no photo of the back of it, but there definitely is connectivity up the top behind. Yeah. So I can't show you, but in that, if you look at that video, you can see badly, but you can see. I'll just move Andy out the way again. So you can see the USB-C, you can see there's MIDI DINs, there's connectivity across the top there. It's a bit blurry, but it's up the top right-hand corner. I'll move my mouse so you guys can see that area there.
CV gate and filter,
yeah.
I would say.
Because if they want to be a tuner, they could have a low pass and a high pass. I didn't see a high pass on there.
It said it did. It said it had a...
It did? Okay.
Yeah.
I zoomed in, I couldn't see it.
It has to, because it's got the 3109, so it definitely has to have a high pass, because that chip does... it's a 3-pole high pass, there you go. And it has a phase as well.
Right. Okay.
So it's an interesting chip, the 3109. Go check out synths that have got it. You'll go, okay, I know that filter. Definitely not a problem. I'm actually a big fan of that filter, by the way. I love that sound. So... there is a photo floating around with the connectivity on the back, and I could probably get it to you guys. It doesn't have any labels on it though. That really doesn't help me at all. I think it does have some sort of CV connectivity on it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a labels, but I'm just gonna save this picture and show you guys.
I mean, this is a modular company, right? They should have CV on there.
Well, yeah. You'd think, wouldn't you?
You would hope.
Hopefully.
Sorry, it's a WebP picture.
Need to convert it.
WebPs.
There's nothing wrong with. I don't have anything wrong with WebP, right? WebP's fine. It's just that vMix, this software that I'm using to stream, doesn't accept WebP for some reason. I'm pretty sure it's just a licensing reason. It's not
like GIFs back in the day.
Yeah. Anyway, let's make it a JPEG, which I've done. And
just stick with PNG. WebP sucks.
Okay, let's just quick play this picture. There you go. There's the connectivity on the back. So you can see the MIDI DINs.
Yeah.
That would be some sort of input-output type thing. And then across on the top right-hand corner of that photo, you can see, to me, that would feel like CV connectivity across there. And I'm guessing those two pots would have to be something to do with either tuning or, I don't know. Not sure what the second one would be. Like a Or maybe it might be something to do with it. Does it have an input? Let me just double check. Does it take input on here?
Yes, it's quite far away.
It does.
To the CV.
It does. It has an external input that can be normalized to post filter feedback for extra warmth, and it has a built-in drive. There you go. There we go. So it does have a couple of little more tricks up its sleeve.
Yep. Cool.
So you can bring your stuff through that filter. So they kind of love that filter, right? Anyway. I think it looks cool. I'm not sure about the coloring. I think it's very Roland-y, which is probably what their goal is. So it's not trying to surprise you there. I don't think that it's more it's saying, we've got a Roland sounding thing. Come. I know you guys like that. You know, it's that.
We know what you like.
Yes. Next. What about this thing?
Oh.
Yeah. It looks
I
like a
really don't know much about this.
it's miniature third wave.
I actually didn't know anything about this. Knobcon has, brought this to us, I guess. This is by GS Music. It's called the B-6. It is based on a previous mono synth that they made, which was called the E7. And if you go to their website right now, GS Music, you won't see anything about the B-6. So it's very kind of light on with information. I haven't got a video to show you without getting a copyright claim against me on my channel. But where did I say these guys were from? Argentina, I believe. These guys are from Argentina. So they've attended KnobCon. And what can I tell you about this thing? There's 2 envelopes. There's a single multi-wave LFO. It has a built-in chorus and delay processor with stereo panning. It has an arpeggiator and a sequencer. It has a visual display on there for, you can see little lights and stuff next to those buttons, right? The mod wheels up the top makes the keyboard shorter. It was deliberately done, I believe. But it's a 3-octave keyboard, so it's pretty tiny, right? We don't know how much this thing's going to be, but it is going to be available in November. It does kind of look a bit, I don't know, what would you say? A little bit Behringer-y, doesn't it?
Well, the first thing I thought, Mini Moog, but obviously the colour's wrong. But
yeah, well, that's Valdorf sort of colours, right?
Yeah,
it's like a PPG sort of colour scheme.
I was going to say it's third wave colours.
Yeah,
it is third wave.
Very cheeky. It's a third wave. No, it's not.
It does have that.
Wave. No, it's not.
I do like it when they put that little oscilloscope,
screen in the middle.
Screen in that, so you can see.
It is quite nice.
Yeah,
I always like seeing the resonance peak on a filter sweeping up and down.
The only thing that
cool.
The only thing that I don't like about this is it is a monosynth, right? I'm pretty sure it's a monosynth. And it has a single oscillator.
Yeah, that's a bit boring, isn't it?
Well, it is, but it really just depends on.
I mean, it can't be good. Look at the original, the Arturia, like the Mini Freak.
Yeah, but they were very, very clever with what they did with one oscillator.
Mini Brute.
Yeah, the Mini Brute, Mini.
With the mixer, one oscillator, but all that crazy timbre out of the one oscillator.
Yeah,
it's nuts.
It was.
Couldn't do a lot. Yeah.
But can you? Are we getting to the point where we are just, are we just regurgitating gear that does the same stuff? I kind of feel like, really what is this trying to achieve in the market other than someone wanting to make a synth for himself? If he's selling it to the world.
I try to resist that urge of thinking that, but I do think it a lot.
Yeah, I mean, the reality of manufacturing.
I can make a synth myself as well.
It is a 6. It's a 6-voice poly. Sorry, I've been corrected. It's a 6-voice poly, and it's analog. So there you go. Like I said, I hardly know much about this.
The business of making a synth takes a very long time and an awful lot of work, doesn't it? But you have to ask the question, unless, because these are, I don't know this company, but they seem like a boutique type company, and it's just, I can expect it to be expensive.
What are we doing with a single oscillator poly? I mean, let's list in the past, right? In the 80s, who made a single oscillator 6-voice poly, right? Name one, and then tell me how much you love that synth.
Yeah,
and Daren's probably got one behind him, right?
Yeah.
Do you think?
Yeah. Single oscillator, 6-voice poly.
Oh yeah.
So
Juno.
We might be looking at £100 for it.
I have a bunch of single oscillators. Things are great.
Yeah.
With a chorus. Yeah.
Whilst you guys I've been talking about this, I've just pulled up the Synth Anatomy article. Big shout out to Tom, and I'm just reading on here that he is saying it's a Juno style concept synth.
Okay.
There we go. So we kind of got there just before I read it. Daren, I mean, if you're looking at this, right, and your Juno, so your Juno's got sliders on it, and this has got knobs.
This is different. Yeah.
Aye, yes.
How would you feel about this compared to a Juno?
I don't know. I prefer with Juno.
Yeah, I think I would too.
I don't know. It's
Me too.
Yeah. I don't mind knobs. I mean, that's the Juno's what it is, isn't it? It's basic, but it's good for what it is, and it's stood the test of time. People still talk about the Juno now, so yeah, I mean, it's not like it's got lost and people don't. I just want thinking probably beyond this. I'm just wanting to see some more different, doing something bizarre, freaky, unique,
definitely
something different.
Yeah,
polysynths, monosynths. It's great. It's all that, but you just want something different.
Yeah.
The last thing that was
know what,
weird
Dave,
was
people do this.
probably.
Companies do this, and people don't buy it or they complain about it. So they get enough flack from people that say they want something different.
If you're gonna build something, do your market research. Really, don't just sort of regurgitate somebody else's original ideas and then tweak it a little bit. Although, having said that, that's an awful lot what Behringer do at a very cheap price.
Most of what they do.
Yeah.
But I mean, companies like Soma are outside of the box, aren't they? So there are companies out there doing that. They're not doing things that are they're not doing this type of thing. They're doing terrors and.
But I kind of want to put this to you guys. 42 years ago, Roland released a 6-voice analog polysynth. It had more keys than this, right? 42 years ago. So, other than the fact that these chips are plentiful and they're remaking them and they're easy and you can buy them and people are getting into DIY synths and stuff, I can't remember who it said. I think it was Daren that said it. What are they bringing to the table that's groundbreakingly new on this?
Very little.
Nothing.
Sorry.
Sadly.
Sorry,
nice
guys.
display.
Yeah, exactly. You've got a different user interface.
Yeah. I absolutely cannot stand modern pitch wheels up there. I think I said that last week with that thing that I showed last week.
It's...
There you go. Korg Poly 6, 1981. There's been analog polysynths in the 70s that were around, But I'm just talking about this because they're claiming that this is a Juno-ish synth, right? Well, 42 years ago, Roland released the Juno. Why are we still releasing something similar? Other than the fact that it's
just they haven't done their market research.
Yeah, man.
They haven't really. They're not pushing the envelope.
I mean, there's been so many products released that people bitched about that were pushing the envelope. Even stuff way out there like the ATV A-frame and the Tenorion, and we go, that's too weird. I don't want to go down that road. Give me something that's boring. And then they say, oh, it's too boring now. It's like, well, what do you want?
I have to say, I played it. You've got a Tenorion, haven't you, Andy?
Yeah.
I played one when it first came out.
Amazing.
and I thought it was. I needed to spend more than the 10 minutes I had with it, but it was at that point it was
Well, there were
impenetrable.
iPad apps for a while, but if you didn't buy them, you can't get them out of the store anymore. They're there, but they're no longer for sale.
Yeah.
So if you're lucky and you're an early buyer, you could still use it.
See,
one guy even got it to work on his Vision Pro system.
And we're going off track a bit here, but I like saying things about stuff that I think Daren's on the money. I don't think it's groundbreaking, but other people disagree with us, Daren. Tracker Jack thinks not everything has to be groundbreaking.
Yeah.
I'm not saying everything has to be groundbreaking. I'm just saying that everything, I just, I don't, or come up with some sort of different oscillators, some a bit, I don't know. I'm not saying this, people are like this and that's great. I mean, it's fair enough, but sometimes I just get bored of just seeing it's just another polysynth with this particular filter that's been done before, and fair enough, that's great. And I think for the younger generation who didn't experience all these other ones, it's what it looks like as well, and they'll get it, even if it basically is. God, my camera's bad.
It is.
It's potato vision.
Let's shrink you because you look better.
Going old school, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, does this excite you? If you saw this in the store, would you be excited by buying this? Like visually, does this excite you? Who chose the wooden sides to like that?
They're entirely
does not even match the color of the blue.
Colored, aren't they?
It's like the Evolver Mono, right? It's blue with wooden sides.
Yeah.
Well, I've got my Raven's a similar blue to that with wooden sides actually.
Yeah, exactly.
I never really liked the Raven. Sorry, Daren. Never liked the look of the Raven.
It definitely looks quite sparse.
If it was a digital oscillator type synth, if it was like sort of mini PPG, I've said it already, then that's what I wished it was. Looking at it.
Well, if this sells bucket loads, fair play to them. You know what I mean? I'm not dissing the actual synth.
We don't even know how much it is.
What they've created. I can't see it being cheap.
This is Kent. I hated the Moog Prodigy. I really did. Man went up in flames.
Yeah,
I hated it. But,
well, anyway, I don't mean any disrespect to GS Music, by the way. What we're talking about is we are consumers. We're not like trying to rubbish your brand.
It's just
it looks well.
Feeling, our personal taste at the moment. That's all.
When you're bringing a product out and your market research, what is it that makes this product unique and different, or what is the purpose that you're bringing out something that's almost identical to a Juno?
Your
in that
USP,
sense?
unique selling point.
Yeah,
I mean,
it does look like a third wave with Moog style knobs on it.
Yeah. I mean, Andy's correct that we all claim for something different. We're bizarre, wacky, and then we'll go that's too wacky, bizarre. And then on the other hand, when they bring out a simple polysynth or monosynth, we just go, oh God, that's just another monosynth. But that's what we are like. Let's face it.
Yeah,
we will always do that until something.
That's it, mate. That's absolutely true. All right, we do have one more product to look at, and that is this, which is AIRA Instruments.
Oh, it's just another modular.
There's another module. Do we need another module?
We're waiting for that. Oh, not another oscillator or another envelope generator.
Yeah, that's the other thing. For people who complain about wanting an original, just go modular. You can build your own custom anything.
Yeah, you can make a copy of. There are so many 3340 modules coming out at the moment. It is getting a bit stupid.
All right. So let's talk about this. This is called the Sounds Scaper, and it's a 4CV product from AIRA Instruments. Now, you guys remember me playing AIRA Instrument videos before. This guy's really enthusiastic videos. There isn't one out yet for this. There is a kind of weird video. I think it's more like a what do you call it? What are those small videos that they do on YouTube? What are they called again?
TikTok.
Like TikTok.
YouTube
Shorts.
short.
That's it. Yeah, short. We can show you that if you like.
What we wear in Australia, shorts, yeah.
Yeah, shorts. Shorts and thongs, mate.
That's mate, yeah.
Let me show you the shorts. the shorts. Is it Paul the guy? Paolo? I don't know. Something like that anyway. Where are we? I can't find it now. Have I lost it?
I have one of his first modules. It was just a spring with a piezo transducer on it for modular.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to get a link to this. Just give me a sec. Sorry, guys. I actually didn't have this video prepared. And it's not because I didn't want to show it or anything. I just thought it was a short and I couldn't show it. But maybe I can. Just give me a sec. Got to paste a link across. Now, this video is not going to really show off the module
It's just going to
per se. It's going to just show some advertising sort of graphics. But it's audio based, right? So this is what we want to look at. So let's go here.
It's a generator.
That is an ADD video if I ever saw one.
Yep. I mean, you probably don't even really need to show it, right? We can just do this.
Yeah, you can listen to it, yeah.
Because it's kind of annoying me.
Yeah, the visuals, absolutely, yeah.
Let me tell you a bit about it. It's a experimental soundscape voice. That's what you're getting here, right? So, if you're looking for something that can do some experimental sounds, you may have found the module for you. It is designed to create different layers of harmony in metallic noise, mixed with deep drones flowing by an internal low-frequency oscillator. It's perfect for creating ambient sounds or micro drum sounds that will set your music apart. The new Soundscaper has 4 control voltage inputs, which means that every parameter can be controlled by one control voltage. This gives you more control over the sound and allows you to create complex and dynamic music. The Soundscaper is inspired by some of the most innovative artists in the industry. I'm not going to name them, but Brian Eno is one of them. These artists are known for their use of small or micro sounds to create unique and memorable music. With the Soundscaper, you can take inspiration from these artists and create your own unique soundscapes. In addition to its unique sound and advanced control options, the Soundscaper is also a compact and skiff-friendly in size. This makes it easy to incorporate into your existing music production setup without taking up too much space. So there you go. Specs, you have got a 8 HP module. Let's shut that up. It's about a minute to go anyway. You get the idea. It's an 8 HP module, and it's about $220 US to buy. That video, by the way, was kind of percussive. So one of the things that he said in his website was this was also kind of like an ambient module.
You could do drone.
That demo did not have any ambient stuff in it
Didn't
at all.
seem
really.
to have the low drone.
Yeah.
No, not what they described.
So that particular side I would like to see. So more videos,
Because you
please.
couldn't do the fast cutting with a drone, it wouldn't make sense. So
Yeah. The video was like giving me epilepsy. It was it was crazy.
Yeah, it's like a strobe light.
It's
Yeah.
intense.
Anyway.
But interesting though. I think it's interesting.
Oh yeah, yeah.
If I was into
micro rhythms, it's interesting
Yeah,
to hear.
if I was
micro
into-
If
rhythms.
you can do that
I've
with
been
running
to-
this percussion through a filter or an effect unit.
Yeah.
You know, it's not the sound itself wasn't that special.
So metallic
No.
noise is kind of what I want to pick up on here. So getting harmony out of metallic noise. So okay, so let's pull that apart for a sec. What's an example of metallic noise first? Like what generates metallic noise?
Cymbals make
I
metallic
mean,
noise.
comb filters sound very metallic.
Yeah, it's quite a lot when you think about it. So you can think about resonators, right? You can
The
think about
metalizer in
samples that
Arturia
have
products.
got, metal types, sounds out there. And then you've also got oscillators that can do cross modulation, and they can create metallic sounds too, right? So FM can do it, audio rate,
FM is full of
modulation.
metallics. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. So when you think about like out of in the timbre land of how do I create a metallic sound, there's quite a lot of generators that are out there. So I'm interested to know what these guys are using in this. It doesn't actually say, but he talks about metallic noise. So we would assume there would be a noise element to this, right?
You'd think so. Presumably it's based on a core, a metallic noise core, which he then manipulates. I mean, this is the kind of the experimental ethos. You don't really know where you're going. You just combine elements together and in step-by-step process and see how these things.
Put Andy up there. Sorry, Andy.
No problem.
What I kind of would like to see is I'd like to see something like this go through a low-pass gate. So if you're going to be doing those percussive sounds, let's see what that sounds like through a low-pass gate. But then on the flip side, I'd like to see this drone go through, like maybe that resonator FB module that Erica Synths brought out we saw last week, because all of those different harmony or harmonics in that metallic noise you would pick up with like a multi-mode filter, or multi-frequency filter. Multi-channel frequency, multi-band. So, you can see where sound design, like, just remember too, like a lot of Eurorack modular artists, they are trying to be pioneers in the creation of sound, so that when you listen to a music record, you get that, that's a sound I haven't heard before, and you get that kind of instant sort of gratification. That's why a lot of guys go sort of down this path, because they want to, they want to be different. They want to sound unique, right? So that's the point of these. I like this guy, by the way. I'm actually not sure why I haven't got a Narrow Instruments module yet. As in, I'm not asking him to send me one. I'm talking about me buying one. Because every single time I see one of his modules, I think they're a bit quirky, right? They're a bit on the crazy side, but, I think maybe we should, I'm talking about from my point of view, maybe I should sort of let my inner crazy beast out a little bit and sort of have a play with something a bit more crazy.
Let your freak flag fly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get out. Yeah, get weird, man. Get weird.
Get that lab coat you've always been wanting, Rance.
Yes. Well, I mean, I have to say, like, the noise engineering modules kind of bring that out in me too. So I don't know if you guys have ever owned some noise engineering modules. I'm a big fan of the Bassimilus iteratus. So these type of crazy sort of modulating sort of noise effect type modules, they can be really handy in Eurorack. And I don't know. The Bassimilus iteratus ended up being on 2 of the tracks in my Gates album. So because I loved the timbre that it was producing, it just became this kind of cool thing. So maybe this might be my first Era Instruments module.
This is why I bought the Syrinx filter. It's a recreation of the Syrinx filter. It has some formants in there and some other weird like bandpassy stuff, similar to some of those recent bandpass filter vocally things that are coming out. And it's wacky. I mean, you can just do really weird stuff with it. Sometimes unusable, but hey, there it is. You can go off the rails,
Yeah, the little gems in there, though. That's why we love to experiment every now and then, because
this is why Apex Twin like the Syrinx,
So on the controls, I don't know if you can see, but it's got this thing called metallic pitch. Obviously, there have to be some sort of oscillator type generating, a there.
Center frequency of some
color, which should probably be. I feel it would be related to noise, right? This is kind of where I'm coming from, because you've got white, pink, brown. That might be color, maybe.
Yeah, it could be.
Spectral. I'm just guessing. And then you've got the scraper. Obviously, the LFO is the LFO for your internal modulation, but the shaper. Shaper. What does that do?
Good question.
Yes, very good question.
We don't know. But
what's the thing in the middle? Is that like a light?
A combination of envelope and micro step sequencing. I don't know.
Could be.
Just a guess.
Could be.
But
Probably
what does the
is.
gem in the middle do? Is that just an LED?
You lick it, do you?
It's a joystick, right? Is it a joystick?
It's the one module
I
to
thought it was a
rule your
joystick
entire
actually
motor.
on there at first.
Yeah, it has the arrows on it.
Yeah,
right?
$220 US Wagyu, so 189 British pounds. I couldn't find anywhere to get it yet, so I was going to have a look at somewhere in the UK. Signal Sounds.
Signal Sound. Do they do kits, or are they not really a kit people?
Well, I was on their page before. Usually there'd be a link to buy it on their page. You can actually buy it direct through them. Okay, you can. It's 189 euros, including VAT. So I'd be excluding VAT on that. So you can buy it on their website. Anyway, link in the blog article below, which appears during the week. Show sold out. Okay, bugger.
Oh, that video drove him crazy. They just sold out.
Probably only had one. Anyway,
It's like
no, I'm
subliminal.
joking. He was at. I am joking. He was at NobCon, right? So he's probably sold a stack of them at NobCon.
Yeah, he's probably sold.
He's very infectious. This guy, honestly. If you were,
He's
you know,
quite a personality.
yeah.
Great.
All right, that's it for products this week. Let's turn off them. Turn off Andy twice. Otherwise, double Andy. Yeah, it was kind of weird. Could start doing Max Headroom impersonations. So what do we have? We had the Roland. We had the new mixer from Zoom. Then we had the audio interface from Boredbrain, the Optx V2. We had the Michigan Synth Works MSW 830, which is the Jupiter one, we'll call it. That was good. Who was that again? That was good, whoever said that. And we had the weird 6-voice poly synth that's sort of after a Juno, what do they call it? The Breeze 6, the GS music people from Argentina. So interesting there, interesting. And the last thing was the Error Instruments one that we just looked at, the Scaper 4CV. So which one would you get, or more?
Zoom
Probably
L6,
the
obviously
mixer.
for me.
L6?
Definitely,
Yep.
definitely.
Darren?
Yeah, if it's out tomorrow,
It'll be the
I'm
mixer.
buying one.
Yeah. It'll be the mixer, probably followed by the little Roland. Even
Yeah,
though I
the
said I
P-
wouldn't get one.
The P6 and the L6. Yeah. Yeah.
It's all about 6.
Yeah, those
Yeah.
are cool.
Well, you could also get the Breeze 6.
666, remember the
I could.
You could get the
What's going
P6, the
on?
L6, and the Breeze
What's
6.
going on? It's not even the 6 of the 6. 2026. Okay, we've got 2 years.
Yeah, I honestly think that Zoom was a cracker product.
That's
Definitely.
impressive.
Yeah,
Very impressive.
They already have a bigger version of it called the L8.
they do, and they have an L12 as well.
Yeah, but
yep.
the form factor, the smallness of it, perfect.
Yeah, it's really good,
Take
isn't
it to
it?
your emo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, like, just
Park bench.
sit it on your desk here,
Park bench.
and then
Yeah.
you know, they're just the usefulness of it.
Yes.
Is it PBA, Darren? Is it park bench approved?
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah.
Bench
It's
approved.
stamp.
They're all on
PBA.
that.
All right,
Yeah,
and
we'll have to
Chatties,
get a stamp for that, like Andy says. Stamp.
what would you guys
on
get
the
in chat? Let us know. By the way, the settings for is on ultra low latency, so you guys should be able to see pretty much straight away. Let me just check it. I'm just going to say test. Let's see how quick it comes up. Look at that.
Whoa.
You can just see it popping up below. That is really quick. So I've set the stream to ultra low latency.
Wow.
Yeah.
It is fast.
Anyway, that's good. Instantaneous results. We shall head on to the next segment, which you guys hopefully will enjoy, and that is Price Watch. Woo! Interesting week this week, Price Watch. Very interesting. We're going to start off with a bit of Nord modular, in fact. The micro modular, this one. This one you can get from Perfect Circuit, by the way, if you're looking at the website thinking, I recognize this website. Well, that's Perfect Circuit.
Teal blue. I know that teal blue colour.
Just down the road from, well, not really just down the road from Andy. It's a bit more than just down the road, isn't it, mate?
Down the road from Manny, but not from me.
Yeah, exactly.
It is a
lives there.
destination. I love
Andy
that
took
place.
us there, though.
Anyway, so I mean, there's nothing wrong with the price of this, by the way. Sometimes I show stuff that's just we're just looking at prices. We're not saying it's a scam or anything like that. But who has had a micro modular? Because you guys know it's a virtual analog synth, right?
Never even seen one.
It's obviously different
sure
from
I've
the
seen one years ago.
standard Moog
It's not
modular.
a person.
Sorry, the Nord modular.
It's a bit
There
red.
was the original
Yeah.
one. Micro modular.
Yeah. It's a vintage, if you're wondering, Wags. It is vintage. It was brought out in 1999.
Mid-80s.
It's a
like
4-voice poly VA type synth with 6 VSM oscillators, triangle, sawtooth, pulse, FM, sine wave, noise, and much more. 8 LFOs
Yes.
with 4 random pattern generators and 16,000 patterns, 6 filters, parametric, shelving EQs, high pass, low pass, band pass, notch, 12 or 24 dB per octave with as much aliasing as you'd like. Thank you very much from 1999. Thanks, Nord.
Comes free.
Yeah, VCA, there's an ADSR and an AD envelope, so 2 envelopes but 2 different styles. Obviously no keyboard because it is a little micro desktop-y type thing. 99 patch memories. Yeah, and if you've got your old Windows 98 machine, you can control it.
Oh dear.
Ortec used to use this, or who else can I mention?
It's funny because around same time, Roland had the Varios. I also ran on Windows 98, so.
They did have a firmware update to this. If you do get one and it hasn't got the latest firmware, they added some things like ring modulator and stuff like that. You probably want to put the firmware update on this if you've got one without one being patched. But $539, I don't know. Who'd buy it? Anyone?
It's not the famous one.
It's US, by the way.
They're cool. They're cool. It's just you're tied to your computer all the time.
Yeah. All right. What else have we got? This is also from Perfect Circuit.
Oh, wow.
Love those.
The
things.
EMU XL7. Come on, Station Groovebox. Have you got one of these, Andy?
Several. Yeah, they love them.
Yeah, they're good, aren't they? I love the little wonky pads down the bottom, how they kind of...
Yeah.
They're basically a Proteus 2000 in a bigger case. The Proteus 2500 was the rack version of this. And then they just put this in a little groove box thing. But the modular patch cable system was way ahead of its time. It's literally a modular synth inside of there
Yeah.
with virtual wires.
Similar sort of age to the previous product. 2001, so it's a couple of years younger. This one boasts a shite load more voices, though. This one's got 128 polyphony.
Yeah.
32 meg
Great control
X
surface,
lead techno sound set oscillators with expandable. I think you can expand it with the
4
additional
slots.
ROM expansion. Yeah. Which you can. Don't know if this particular one for sale has it though. It does have effects built in, 24-bit dual stereo effects processor with 29 reverb types, 15 delays, 8 choruses, 7 flanges, and 5 distortions. And I think that some of the distortions are kind of sought after. Some of the sounds that this thing does are kind of sought after because it's a bit crunchy.
This even has
and-
the Z-plane filters in it too. If you guys like the
Yeah,
Z-plane filters,
Yeah,
with the Morpheus and stuff.
because it's got 50 types of filters in it.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. 12th order Z-plane filters, right?
Longhurst worked at Mimu when they were working on this thing. He has several of them.
Yeah. Built-in arpeggiator, built-in sequencer, 16 tracks, 1,024 patterns, up to 32 bars each with 512 songs. Massive amount of capacity for this tiny little thing. Arpeggiator's
tank, too.
pretty decent too. It's got 32 different arpeggiator patterns in it. And you
You
can
snap
then,
those ears off and you can put it in your rack.
Yeah, and then on top of that, what I love about this arpeggiator thing is that you can actually store 100 of your own patterns in it as well.
Hey.
So I love those sort of arpeggiators that have got that sort of flexibility in them.
If you do get one, get the free Pro Datum app. It totally unlocks the entire box. I mean, it's one of the best things for it. because that little screen is kind of hard for some people to get into because there's so many menu divey things in there.
Yeah.
But Pro Datum just blows it all out and lets you see the patch cords and all that stuff. It's crazy.
What I would love to see is someone do the card thing. You know how they've done it with the DX7s and the ESQ1s, where they've done a sort of soft manipulation of the cards, so you can actually just put one card in. These are the expansion ROMs that you can get for this, right? So you put one card in, and then it gives you all the expansion ROMs.
Yeah,
you know, you select it through like a little.
The architecture wouldn't allow it, unfortunately. It's really locked into its format. But there was a flash ROM you could get. I have a flash ROM for one of these. It's kind of rare. But a guy on Gearspace is recreating these and also putting out sound sets now.
That's cool.
So you can have new cards. Yeah.
I wonder if this is the same. Oh no, it wouldn't be 2001. I'm just thinking the actual processor behind this thing. I wonder if you could get an emulator for it.
Yes, I know what you're thinking, Rant.
Yeah. The virus A.
They could. The IP is basically dead. So
I'm getting definite sort of like early 2000s trance.
Yeah.
Big trance in.
Oh no, this thing is huge in the dance. So there's a lot of people that use this.
That's based on the ROM, though. If you get the MoFat ROM, then you have all the hip hop stuff, and you get the other drum ROMs and other like vintage synth ROMs. You can go all over the map with this thing. So
yeah. I love EMU stuff.
That's just what it came
seriously,
with.
EMU made some really cool stuff. What are the chatties saying about the XL7? Go, Daren.
Orbit V2. I've got the classic Orbit V2 just up above me.
Yeah, you do.
Those are great. Yeah. It's a Rob Pappin sound set.
Yeah, it's cool. And quite a few outs as well.
Yeah.
But if you like the old Proteus modules, the 1, 2, 3 modules they came out with, they have a Protozoa ROM that goes in this. It's the best of the 3 racks.
Yeah. I knew you'd like this one,
that's really
Andy.
cool.
I knew you'd like this one.
I love these things.
$719, is that a good price?
Just one ROM?
Kind
of expensive for just one ROM. The original XL7 ROM.
It doesn't actually say it's got any
probably
other...
just the one ROM.
Yeah, it doesn't
They
actually
must have
say.
gone up. Normally that was kind of high, but I guess they're getting more rare, potentially. They used to be everywhere. I used to see tons of them.
EMU XL-7. I mean, you can get the ROMs.
But they have classical ROMs for it. They have world music ROMs, the vintage synth ROMs. There's all kinds of ROMs. It's probably about, I don't know.
So nothing on
10
eBay
12 ROMs.
For this.
Yeah. Maybe they're more rare now.
Yeah.
But they have 3 flavors of Command Station. It's just whatever chip you want to put in it.
Well, okay. What price did I say it was? 719.
50 quid. 50 quid for an extension for the expansion ROM card here in the UK on eBay.
Okay,
600 quid here.
There's another one
that price
on
is
Reverb.
okay. Oh, it's from Romania though.
Jeez. So with the Proteus 2000 series, can you use the same ROMs or not?
Same system, yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. I think you said that, didn't you? Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's go on to the next. The next one, I thought this was interesting because someone told me this particular synth. This is Synth City again, by the way, Chicago-based reseller. Big shout out to those guys. They sell a lot of gear too. If you're ever looking for something and you just can't find it, you should seriously keep them on your little pocket. What do you call it? Speed dial. These guys for some reason seem to get hold of gear quite frequently. Anyway, the JDXi White Edition. I've got one, and someone said to me once, "There's not many of them out there," and I thought to myself,
and I had one and it got stolen.
Oh no! Oh, so I shouldn't be showing this. All right, let's move on to the next.
Well, it's not in Chicago, or whatever. So it's just...
No, let's not even talk about it. I don't want you to make you feel bad.
Yeah.
All right. The Hammond analog synthesizer. The 102-100. Is that right? Is that even correct? Yeah, 102-100 is a top of the line keyboard synthesizer that boosts 44 keys and an analog signal path that comes equipped with built-in effects to enhance your music making experience. The synthesizer is actually massive. It's 13 inches in height and 13.5 inches in length and 36 inches wide, and it weighs 37 pounds. It's a beast of a thing. Anyway, there's 7 preset buttons. Look at the chunky preset buttons on that thing. You can buy this for $1,690 or you can start bidding on it. The bidding starts. It's on eBay right now. Literally no one has put a bid in yet. This is based in Florida, in Largo. Welcome to all the people from Largo and Florida. I don't think I've been to Largo. That's not Key Largo, is it? It's different, right? Or is Key Largo?
No, it'd be called Key Largo if it were Key.
Yeah, they've got a heap of key names right down there, haven't they? They've got a massive, a whole bunch of key stuff. Yeah.
Key West.
Well, the famous Key Largo song, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kokomo.
You basically drive through there. It's kind of a boring island. You just drive through there. Not really much going on there. So.
No, definitely Largo, not Lardo. Sorry.
That's when you've had too much to eat on your vacation. You're Key Largo.
Who's heard one of these, by the way?
You.
By the way, I've got a live.
I might have done.
I've got a live listing. Let's show you. While you guys talk, you talk. You guys.
It looks like a
It
calculator.
sort of rings a bell.
Or cash register.
Yeah,
it's a bit of an ugly looking synth, isn't it? To be
It's
fair.
horrible.
That's lovely. Yes. That's a brushed aluminium panel.
I mean, it looks functional. It's just ugly. Yes.
What year was it? Let's have a look. Hammond. What is this again?
It looks appropriate.
It's 70s.
Analog.
The shop that it's in looks like it's about from the 70s.
Yeah.
10. What is it? 10. What was it called again?
10210. What was it?
102100. What a weird name. There we go. Oh, there's I can't really tell you about the 102-100 because I can't find it, but I can find information about this one, the 102-200, right? Let me just click on the next photo because that was just the side of it. There we go. Let's look at that. Look at that from that way. There we go. It's basically a preset synth, right? That you can't really manipulate at all. Is that what I'm getting from this?
That's true, if I remember rightly. It's a long time ago. I've only ever
1974.
Yeah,
we're talking about.
I think it didn't sound very good, if I remember rightly.
It'd be divide down, surely, right? It'd have to be divide down.
Yeah.
Knowing Hammond. Because didn't Hammond take ARP products and rebadge them? That's what I thought they did.
I'm not sure about that. There's a video of it playing. Do you want me to stick it in the chat?
No, I can't do that.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, there's copyright issues. I would have definitely chucked it in, mate. Yeah. Anyway, it's probably going to sound like a friggin' organ, right?
It does a bit. Yeah.
But whose organ?
It sounds terrible.
The old man's. No,
Rant, play your organ on.
Sorry. Sorry, it sounds terrible.
Does it fit name that synth? Yes, it does. If you've got one,
it does,
QRDNK,
Absolutely.
chuck it on with your one oscillator and your presets. Go for it.
That's how you play it.
I mean, hell, you can just like whack our faces off with that French horn sound all day long if you like.
See, it doesn't just do fart noises.
It doesn't. No, it does a solar echo. Don't know what.
Sorry, that was my phone.
Ian, you should find out what the solar echo sounds like.
I'm trying. Yeah, this
we had one of those.
This. I'm trying to find.
Let me see. I'm probably going to get in trouble doing this. What were you going to say, Andy?
Actually,
I was saying, do you guys have any of those Oregon piano superstores near you? We used to have them about 20 years ago around here. One called Bob Barry's Piano and Organ World. And you go in there, and it was like a time warp. Just the worst Lowry and all the crap organs everywhere.
Yeah.
And in the very back, they had a little podium thing area where they had like 2 or 3 like electric pianos. One sound. It was really boring.
Sorry.
And it's just
sounds exactly like it. That sounds right.
Yeah.
These videos are really old.
Yeah, they are. Yeah,
you can find a store like that. They're a crack up to walk
synthesizer.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I told you.
Sounds glorious.
And I think I can't remember the store we had in York, and I think they had one at one point. That's why I went and played it for about 3 seconds because I thought, well, this is pretty.
Come on, you're making a timber sound great.
I'm just having a look around here.
Well,
I was thinking, where am I going to fit it?
Overboard was a clever thing. Did a good job with that one.
Look, just remember that meme that we showed earlier that Robbie shared with us about the argument that someone was having. They said, I can make my argument better through these guitar effects pedals. Well, I can make this Hammond organ sound better through
run through the left.
Calling it a Hammond organ isn't good because a Hammond organ sound wonderful, don't they?
That is true.
Normally,
yeah, that
is
true.
This is definitely Hammond's low point.
Yes, they needed to Hammond something else out, I think. Right, boom, boom, chish. Okay.
Remember Monty Python, Harry Snapper organs?
Yes.
I have to say, if I was going to buy any of those price watch, I would be looking at definitely the XL7. I love that thing. Every time I kept getting reminded about it, I always go, damn, I should have bought one of those.
I'll do a demo video one day. They really fun.
They are so cool. And I mean, the only thing is they've got so many features, but the only thing that really does your head in, Andy, you'll probably attribute this, is that they're a pain in the ass to get to some of those features though. Because
it's divey.
It's very divey.
Yeah. That's why I said Pro Datum will unlock everything. So hook it to a computer, learn a few basic things, tweak some stuff, and then go back to just playing with it because it's a great control surface.
Complete SysX online manual. You can like SysX the crap out of it and just send it commands from your DAW though if you want it. So, someone mentioned to me during the week that the reason why they messaged me was because they know I've got a sample track from Sonicware, and we were talking about the new Roland P-6, and they said, why would you want to get one? You've got a sample track. And I said to them, because the Roland has put in features in it that I feel are much more quicker to get to where you want.
Yeah, sample track's not that fun to use.
Creativity enhancing features and workflows are always pique the interest.
Yeah. And I kind of feel like if you've been using Roland gear like I have, I mean, my first Roland Groovebox was an MC 505. That was the first one I bought. I've got a 303 since subsequently, but I've got the 505 was the first one I bought. And once you learn their topology, if you want to call it, they have a similar sort of feel to all of their products that you use over the years. They are different, they're subtle and things like that. But I have to say, like, when I've used an MC505 for so many years since the 90s, and then like maybe, I don't know, what was it? When did TR8 come out? 2015. When I got the TR8, it was supposed to be based on sequencing like an 808, right, or a 909. But I kind of felt that the 505 was also similar, and that is because they would have been based on those original samplers and mix and drum machines and sequences in the day. So, yeah, I kind of feel like this P6
they call it TR style sequencing,
right,
but it's been around for a while.
Yeah. I don't think I'll be disappointed. Anyway, I'm wondering when we can get them in Australia yet. Usually Roland will announce their product
pretty quickly.
They are pretty quick getting them. Yeah, let's have a look.
Yeah, I think I got my S6 within 2 weeks of when a few people on this stream got one. So.
You can order it. It's $400 in Australia. $399. Not in stock yet. but you can buy a pack now. You can buy 5. Is it 5 or 4 of them? 5 of them, isn't there? It's 5. What did I just see?
4.
It's at least 4 out
Four.
of 5.
5.
Chord synths and
Vocal, drum.
S1, J6,
S1,
T8,
and the Juno.
E4, and P6.
forgot the E4.
E4 is the vocoder, right?
Yeah.
Which is interesting how they didn't call it a V4.
Yeah,
Anyway,
that's interesting.
I did have a couple of other bells and whistles in it too. It wasn't just a vocoder; it had some. We didn't really cover
It's
that,
a
did we, on the show?
Vocal
I don't think.
processor.
Vocal processor, yeah. And I actually I digged it actually. I sold my AIRA VT3, which I had for years, and I sold it when I had my big clean out because I just wasn't using it. But I actually I was
I
disappointed
can't
with it
sell
as well.
that, unfortunately.
Why not?
It's
because
uses a certain
the
trademark
special.
Oh,
in
okay.
things.
Yes,
Yes.
it's
No.
trademarked.
I was just being stupid. Sorry, I should know better. Yeah,
It has a very particular sound.
It's all stuck in a certain
Cannot be
position
replaced.
as well.
yeah,
Yes.
got it.
Super glued down, perhaps.
All right. We have a topic to talk about this week, and now I did put a poll up in Discord. I know you guys don't all use Discord, but I will do it again this
Yeah,
week. I put the poll up, and only 2 people voted.
I know.
No.
I felt pretty guilty when I saw the results.
So
Well, and it was
Especially
50-50.
your comment was kind of dry as well.
Yeah.
Let's begin to check Discord.
yeah.
2 people, yeah. Interesting.
So I just decided to pick one of them anyway. And the topic this week that I've decided to pick is, and you guys probably know it all, and that is this topic. Do we need to clone vintage digital samplers? And there's a couple of photos of one there. There's a Fairlight, there was an SP1200, there was a Lindrum. And the reason why I wrote, there's a couple of really, really important words here. Vintage digital samplers, right? So let's be very careful about what we're talking about. Make sure that they are vintage digital. And there's a reason why I've chosen those words. And the reason is because a vintage has to be something that's, what are we going to say? Earlier than the year 2000, right? Let's say it's before the year 2000, before the millennium. And then digital. It has to be digital. Why does it have to be digital? Because the question becomes then a little bit more scratch head. Do we need to clone like a hardware box that has the digital software in it? Can we just put that on a computer? Is it really needed? Do we need the tactile? By the way, to set it off, you guys can argue about Fairlights, you can argue about SP1200s. We know the SP1200 has been cloned by the same guy.
Yes.
And also Isla Instruments has done it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lindrum's been cloned many times, and obviously the most recent one is the Behringer one. And there's a few others, right?
yeah.
I know you guys can come up with some of the, if you know of others, digital samplers that have been cloned. In Eurorack, there's been a couple of samplers.
The TX16W kind of was cloned, but it's really not a clone. They're not actually trying to. I don't think they are actually trying to emulate the circuitry.
So what's the purpose of cloning them first? Is it to revive them? Is it to why are we cloning them? Or
Nostalgia, sound character.
Workflow. Sometimes.
By the way, I had to choose the word clone because obviously there's only so much room you can fit with words on a graphic. You can replace that word with faithful recreation or whatever like buzzword.
I mean
you
something
want.
with less, contentious. Kind
Yeah.
of
Just use the word Behringer.
connotations.
It's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
So.
If you Behringer, yes.
So
that's
it
a bit rude.
doesn't. When we talk, let's not get too OCD and nerdy about it. It doesn't have to be a complete one-for-one remake, identical. Doesn't have to be.
It's the quest for the motivation too.
Yeah.
Such as, I remember the early. I think there was that Lindrum software, the Prom one. I think it was called Prom or LinProm or something. I remember that was the first time I heard anyone really talk about DACs and how DACs work and why DACs give a certain different character. The digital DACs of the past gave a very different character to the DACs of the present. And of course, Ken Flux is the man who knows the most about that. I since found out. He's definitely full bottle on that. Yes. So there are unique characters to the sonics of that, but also don't forget that there's of course a unique signal flow with respect to some of these vintage machines that created different character just out of the order in which they did things, and the different styles of things. One thing flew into another, or limitations, for example, on sample times and sample frequencies, and having to pitch things down and record them at twice the speed. All these things are things that are enforced upon you that can sometimes be as much as important in the nostalgia aspect of using that device. So there's cloning the instruments, but there's also cloning the attitude or the restrictions. It's another aspect
experience.
Yeah.
Someone said to me,
I went to the Vintage Computer Fair recently, and they had these guys going nerding out about old stuff that you go, why would somebody want to use that old crap? But it's a feeling, that's a vibe. It's recreating an era, and it's also the qualities, like Chris was saying, that you want some of these qualities in newer stuff, maybe.
Yeah, I think anyone who likes to listen to people talk about how they were doing something cutting edge back in the 80s and that they were the only people doing it, and they just realized that if they did this, then this whole new thing would start. If you get tingles down your spine listening to stories like that, I think you're the kind of person who's definitely the right kind of person to be interested in recreations of early digital samplers.
Yeah,
something about that pioneering kind of history as well.
So you might have heard me mention the other day about that you can just get the sample sound and put it in an MPC, and you've got basically the same. You've got the same drum machine as an Oberheim DMX, just those sort of things, right? So why is it that people don't want to do that? Like, they know they can chuck those samples into their DAW. They know that they can put them into their MPC, or they can buy a sample track and put them into the sample track. Same thing, right? Why is it that they want these actual pieces of hardware?
Case in point, I bought one of those Fairlight CDs years ago, and it has Fairlight samples on it, but it's not going through Fairlight circuitry. It doesn't sound like a Fairlight. It's off.
Yep.
Yeah, there's kind of two ways of approaching that sonic thing, isn't there? There's the old, if you capture in high fidelity the result of the work you've done in your Fairlight, then you are capturing it. Like, for example, if a touring musician uses their Fairlight in their studio and then needed to take something on the road, that would actually really work well for them. But for the creative side of it, for the actual songwriting side of it, it doesn't work that way, because you can't capture all those tiny little nuances without iterating all those tiny little nuances, of which there are a bazillion of them. So it's not the same, and that's perhaps what some people are looking for, or they have experienced. Perhaps they have experienced.
Some of it's about workflow.
Yeah, but sometimes they've experienced the, having high fidelity and then capturing the samples that they like, and then they realise that they're not being satisfied in the way that they thought they'd be, and they go, well, how else would I be? Maybe I need to actually recreate the environment this sampler worked in, and the restrictions, and the pitching up and pitching down in that circuitry, which is different from the pitching up and pitching down in a high-end sampler, modern sampler. That's the first obvious thing, which I think everyone understands.
A DAC aside, right, you can definitely emulate bitrate, right? DACs aside, okay, there are different nuances with DACs themselves, but you can definitely, in any type of computer chip with an audio bitrate, you can change down to 11K, and that sample will sound technically the same as it would have on an original piece of hardware if it was on like a crappy, Intel processor back in the the mid 80s or whatever it was. One of the things that you can do, and kind of the reason why this topic actually spawned in my head, was because I was listening to one of the earlier Art of Noise albums on Apple Music. And it was actually kind of a bit of an idiosyncrasy happening to me because I'm reading Apple Music's all, how they sell all their crap. It's lossless audio and all this sort of stuff, right? Yeah. And then I'm looking at Art of Noise and I'm thinking, guys, these are really, really bit crunchy samples. And it said remastered, and it was like 2020 remaster or something. I'm like, geez, would JJ have remastered this? But not remastered the sample. He would just remaster the vocals.
Imagine put the bits back in
preserve the samples.
Just added bits.
I can redo all their samples.
Yeah.
Wow, great.
Yeah, and they still sound like 11K. But I guess the point is that I think Robbie mentioned in chat. You guys probably would have seen it fly past. It's if they want one of these devices to be remade or cloned, it's probably not to play with the workflow of the machine back in the day. It's probably literally just to get the sound that it created, right? It's to get that original.
We stunk.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to fly around my Emax 2 when I got it, and it's very menu divey. I mean, you have that panel, little angled button panel, and you sit there and you go through and you memorize the thing.
Yeah.
But to do a sample, record it, process it, tweak it, record it, all that kind of stuff, is a lot of damn steps. Nobody would want to do that right now.
Yeah.
But when you're in the mode and you've learned it, you don't even think. You just go, this button, then number 2, and then this, and
yeah.
And it's quick. But if you ask me now how to do it, I don't remember how to do it.
Well, Daren's got the rack-mounted Akai samplers. I don't know if he's got rid of them yet, but he should still have them.
No, I've got the S01, the S900, the S3000 XL.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't want to replicate the actual, like Andy said, the menu diary and the process of it. Maybe you just wouldn't, would you? I mean, in them days, like I think it was Utah Saints, they spent about 2 months or 2 weeks just trying to get pull how it came out. Whereas these days, but the sound, as you're saying, like the sound and the way it's the filters are applied in the sample and things, that's a different sort of thing. So I wouldn't want to recreate the actual working and menu diving of it, but maybe people want that actual unique sound, how the actual sampler, apply the filtering and everything else in the process. But I mean, I suppose it depends how true you want to get it to the original sampler, I suppose.
It's a good point, is that, because I mean, I know we talk about samplers, but the Alesis SR16 was a sampled drum machine, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I was able to put those samples in. Yeah, I've had 2. The first one was stolen, and so I put the samples into the Roland, and it didn't have the same sort of. I mean, the samples sounded fine, but they didn't have the same sort of feeling because they are still new. You can still buy them, and they're really cheap. I ended up going and buying another SR16 because I knew the workflow more.
Okay. And you probably like the sound of it too.
That, I do like the sound of it better than when it's with the samples. Yeah, but granted, I didn't sample it. I just got off the internet. So
yeah. Well, that's probably half the problem.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's
Ian, you'll get a kick out of this. Brad, the Island Instruments, used to hack those things, and he has an old video of him hacking one up with custom tweaks. You should check out his videos; they're pretty funny.
I will do. Yeah. No, I mean,
Before he made
I
the
was
chord
so
bot and all that
gutted.
stuff, he was a hacker.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I was gutted when it was stolen.
You can actually get the bit code of all those samples off. I don't know if the modern ones will let you in, but the older, more vintage Alesis ones will let you in there. And once you get the bit code, it's literally just binary of that sample. So it's a digital binary of that sample. Once you've got that, then it is actually truly that sample. No matter how it sounds to you, whether it sounds different or not, the original sample is that binary code that you've taken off that chip.
Like getting a ROM
upgraded.
Yep.
Yeah, they upgraded it at some point. And I bought. Is it stereo? Because I think the original one might have been mono. But I can't
Darren,
remember.
what are you showing? The SR. Yeah, Darren's got an SR there.
SR.
Yeah, is yours an
also
original,
18 as
Darren?
well.
Oh, hear me. because I had the original.
I couldn't work out the camera angle. You know what I mean? We don't know our left and right, do we?
Is yours yours is a 16, is it, Darren?
I bought the new one.
Mine,
the newer one.
Yeah, yours is the 16. Let me just go full screen on Darren.
SR16
Up.
Mark 1.
Move it up.
Up.
When did you buy yours?
Oh, you put forward down.
I got mine second down ages ago, and I think on the date on the back, has it got a date on the
bigger
back?
now,
Just got to get
remember?
mine.
I can't be bothered getting mine.
96.
It sounds like an early one.
There's an SR18 also, isn't there?
Yeah.
Oops.
When did it come out?
90s, I thought.
Early 90s, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh,
They're old, yeah. I've seen it
well,
forever.
this is
They're $300
They were
to
out when I bought
buy
my Emax 2.
in Australia.
So-
They still cost $300.
96.
Yeah.
96 I got. I didn't get it then, but that's 96. I think it's still got the box,
I was older than that. Maybe I'm thinking the HR16.
Yeah, that was grey and bigger.
Yeah, more. I think D.T.H had the 18, didn't they? Or the
Well, they had the,
16.
didn't they have the HR16?
HR, yeah, that's it. Yeah, they had the
That's
HR.
that's
Yeah.
the grey one with the angular design.
Yeah,
Edge.
well, I got the MMT8, which was a
Yeah.
sequencer.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is
Wow,
this
yeah.
is 1996.
Has yours got the rhythm patterns on the
years
bottom?
ago.
I remember.
Oh.
Yeah, like that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's maybe. I mean, this.
Zoom
I
does
thought
that on
this
their
was the
drum
new
machines
one.
also.
I thought the new ones have got the rhythm patterns on it as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, because I thought this was a new one or newish. I still bought it
Like all of them.
a while ago, but
Yeah, mine has it's always got a stick with a date on it because it's a Laces Quant
no, it doesn't.
quality control. I think. The 11th of, I'm presuming that's the 12th, 96.
No, I've got nothing like that.
Let's see if I can show it.
Also, one of the
camera
biggest problems with
Yeah.
vintage sampling is no one has the patience to make proper loops and do crossfades and all that kind of stuff like you had to do in the old days. Now it's all
Yeah.
automated. No one thinks about it.
Yeah,
but
exactly,
back then it was a pain in the ass to get the
And
clicks
it was
and pops
like-
out of your stuff.
And it was
right.
done by hand
yeah.
as well. So
It's-
different
Yeah, we had to do it by hand
designs
by
of
ear.
barcode.
I mean, Emacs
Yeah,
had a horrible
exactly,
screen,
yeah.
so I had to do
You're
it by ear,
Yeah, an algorithm's not
not a
doing it,
waveform
humans
or any
do
of that
it.
kind of stuff.
So here's a good question for you, right? This is not a sampler. This is a sample player. It's a drum machine,
Yeah.
right? Why is Elisa still making this and selling it? I mean, I know the answer, but I just want to see what you guys think.
Because it works and it sounds good.
I can get the samples for free off the internet.
Yeah.
Why
but
are people
I
still
think it's
buying
work-
this?
it's
Because it's
workflow.
iconic for the brand.
No, it's
Right?
workflow.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can go and you can go and gig with it
yeah.
because they're real people. Real people played those drums, so it sounds less like a drum machine and more like a drum
It's
player.
it's £150 to buy one, right? You're looking at 4
they're not
audio
expensive.
outputs, 2 stereo pairs. It has
Yeah.
16 voice polyphony, right? And it's completely MIDI accessible too, so you can access the whole thing through MIDI. And the other thing too is there's literally a whole bunch of, if you go onto the internet and search, there's literally a whole bunch of cool things that you can do with an SR16 via MIDI, via apps that people have written that hack into it, sort of thing. But they're not really
So it's
hacking.
kind of a
It's more
community.
SysX. Yeah,
Community around it. Yeah.
yeah. And then there's people.
following, yeah.
People that have downloaded the bit data for the samples, and you can get that. And then you need like ways to turn that bit into a wave file and all. It's cool fun to do this sort of stuff. But my question is like, okay, so that's a good one. It's not a sampler, but it's a sample player. It's kind of it's in the realm. It's in the realm of what we're talking about. Obviously, we're not recreating them. Only technically, Elisa's are recreating it, aren't they? They're keeping it. They're keeping it refreshed. There's been a few hardware revisions over the years, right? Why do we need it? Why do people still need it? Is the question. When we
We're
can just
comfortable with it.
put these samples in our DAW or in our MPC or,
Not everyone does everything in DAWs.
yeah. guitarists.
How
I
many
mean,
people need to
You haven't got a drummer.
Yep.
to make it
Yeah,
commercially
a
useful.
guitarist playing that with a foot switch.
Yep.
You know, you can pattern chain it. So
Apparently, it's
You can
the
create
biggest
song.
selling drum machine
in history.
bought by guitarists. That's what
Yeah,
I.
I
That's
can
what I
understand
heard.
that.
I feel I've heard this a while ago. I don't know if it's still the truth.
Yeah,
but-
yeah.
I was actually shocked a couple years ago when I went looking at drum machines at Guitar Center. They still had them new. I go, they're still new.
Yeah.
Mm.
You think?
Yeah,
hang on a
yeah,
minute.
yeah.
Have you just got lots of
almost
stock
can't
and you haven't got rid
believe
of
it's
it yet?
That is very guitar world, isn't it? The some things just a Gibson is always a Gibson, so nothing's going to change there.
That's a really good point from Wigoo. That is a really good point. I'm glad he actually said this because that was the one that I was waiting for. And that is the shame of the having a laptop on the stage. That is the reason why people do not want.
Serious loss of credibility.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or,
Because
or
what's-
Switches
I
that
no,
come with
no
laptops.
damn computers.
What are people going to think straight away when you've got a laptop on the stage? Is he really playing this?
You're faking.
Is this just really
It's just-
vocals?
It's just
karaoke, isn't it? Turned
God,
into karaoke.
even using a pedal looper looks better than using Ableton on stage.
Well, yeah.
There's a guy in Seattle that used to play in front of a bank, just a violin and a little pedal looper, and he would tap rhythms on the violin, and he was amazing. Build these incredible loops with just a little pedal. It's crazy.
There are a lot of people out there now.
I want to go off on
Great stuff out there.
a little tangent here because I kind of feel like the performing side of it is probably more, when you're talking about buying products and what using them as a musician, putting them into a live performance is really kind of the pinnacle of truth of whether that product itself is actually going to be something that you will swear by as a musician. If it fails you in a live performance, that thing will be on Craigslist or Gumtree before you can say Jack Robinson, right?
Yeah.
I went and saw, my wife dragged me out to see another Michael Jackson
Tribute.
clone tribute act. This guy was from the US. He's actually quite well known. I'm not going to name him, but you can Google him.
He's Michael.
And when he was singing on stage, right? I mean, oh God, I was critical. I feel bad. You guys probably do this too, right? At first I'm like, what sense have they got? And trying to in the dark where all the mist was. I'm trying to work. Oh wow, he had a Roland AIRA there. Oh okay, that's cool. Oh wow, he's got a. The bass player had I think it was either a sub 37 or it was maybe it was definitely a more modern Moog with the wooden sides, right?
So
It wasn't a mini Moog.
Little
Synth
fatty
Addict
or
like that.
Could have been, yeah.
Synth
But
Addict, yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
and he was playing all the Michael Jackson bass lines that had a Moog sound, which instead of the synth player playing it, I thought it was cool how the bass player was playing it. I thought that was kind of a nice touch. Anyway, that aside, the singer, right? Caught him a few times not singing, and I could hear Michael Jackson. I'm going, what? How are you getting away with this, mate?
Oh, that's
But
disconcerting.
there was obviously the point about the laptop. There was 2 laptops on stage, and one of them was definitely controlling all the visuals at the back. I know that because I don't think it was synced at all. So I think that was probably the bass player was just keeping an eye on it. And then the synth guy who had about 5 synths in front of him, he was like playing all the samples and all that sort of stuff, and it was playing them through some sort of DAW. And he had a Korg Cronus, that was his main keyboard that he was playing. He had the little Gaia sitting on top of the Cronus, and then there was another synth off to the side. I can't even remember what it was now off the top of my head. And it wasn't used that much anyway. But it was interesting because probably like 90% of all the effects and sounds came out of the laptop. You could tell because you could see him working away, right, in the background, and you could see him pressing buttons, and he had maybe it was an Ableton push, I'm not sure. He had some sort of grid-based control. It was a bit hard to see from where it was sitting.
From that distance, yeah.
But he was obviously firing off samples that way, right? Might have even been an Akai Force, I don't know. Could have been. And then there was this rare time where he would use the Roland Gaia to make the synthy sort of sounds, and it actually did a really good job. And funny thing about it is it's really quite a shit synth to make analog kind of recreated sounds, but it actually did a really, really good job of some of those very famous Michael Jackson synthy sounds that you would have heard back in the day. And they would have been like Jupiters and Oberheims and ARP 2600s and stuff making those sounds, right? And he was just using a Core Cronus and a Roland Guy, and it actually sounded really, really good. And in fact, the band was amazing. The band was really, really good. The thing that let it down was this guy walking off between each song, don't know what he was doing, and not singing half of the lyrics, and you could hear someone else singing and think, what? Who's singing? None of the band members are just like this. No, they're not singing. They didn't have a microphone. I'm like, who's... It's the guy at the back singing? But I just thought that was a good segue, because we mentioned about the stigma of having a laptop on stage. Well, I think ASIO had said if you want to have a laptop on stage, fuck it, have a laptop on stage. Who gives a shit?
Do what you want. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
It's no problem because laptops never fail, right?
Yep.
So
oh yeah.
How often would you honestly think a laptop would fail? Seriously.
I mean,
Well,
as randomly as any other goddamn computer.
There's always issues. But it never fails. I mean, very rarely does it like screen go off, reboot.
Yeah.
Not as often as it used to.
I mean, keep a gig computer you don't put on the internet is probably the best move. Don't have it full of shit. Don't have it touch the internet and get a bunch of malware, spyware.
Have it
Don't
locked
check
down.
your socials. Yeah,
Have it
don't
locked down. Yep.
Yeah.
Don't check your socials.
Don't ever
in the
update
middle of
it.
the gig, yeah.
Never ever do an update.
But the thing about the Gaia, because the Gaia usually gets besmirched and stuff because it's a pretty basic synth. But I bought one from Sweetwater years ago, and Daniel Fisher included a USB of a bunch of patches he made, and they were amazing patches. So.
It's good synth.
If you put enough time in there, you can do really killer patches on that.
Yeah. I mean, I moved mine on because I didn't need it, but and I repaired it too. I got mine for like literally nothing from a pawn shop, and someone had painted all the C keys with nail polish orange, so that I don't know whether they were using it for education or something. But I just ordered 5 more C keys from Roland, actual proper Roland spare parts, replaced them, cleaned it up, and sold it, and the guy paid me what it was worth on the market. So I made a profit, which sometimes, we do things like that. But I was thinking when I saw that, what's the new Gaia 2 like? Gaia 2, whatever you want to call it. What's that like compared to the old one? Apparently it's nothing like. They're like almost
totally
like completely different synths. They're not even close.
But I'm not really a fan of that one. So.
Yeah, I think we reviewed it a little bit on here. All right, anyway, back to the topic. I don't think anyone's going to be cracking heads about this. No one feels really, really big.
Yeah.
Right, really, they should make all them all. Like if we had Brad Holland on here, what would he say about the S2400? What would he say about that? Why did he make it? What was his reasoning?
Well, if you see what he's done to it, though, those upgrade cards and stuff, holy moly. I mean, it's a whole different animal.
DSP stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're served quite well for sort of vintagey, samplery. I mean, because we've had this resurgence of lo-fi, which is the closest sort of overlaps those requirements. We're quite well served. So,
what do you think with your? I mean, you've got the which lo-fi thing do you have there, Chris? You've got the ambient thing, don't you?
I got the ambient and I got the texture lab.
So which one can you bring samples into?
You can bring samples into both of them, but the texture lab only takes mono samples.
Right.
But it
that's
takes
okay.
more of them. And the Ambient Zero has stereo samples, but it has less sample memory.
But all the samples that we would be referring to as vintage samples are all going to be mono.
Yeah.
With,
so the texture
with some very, very few.
The most lo-fi one in that I've got. Yeah.
Yeah. And so with that lo-fi, for example, with that, you could get all the SR16 samples in on it and play around with the lo-fi settings, right? And crunch it down.
It's just the texture lab, so it's not the lo-fi 12.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
it's not the drum machine.
It's the granular.
Type thing.
Yeah. So
okay, gotcha.
Granular.
Gotcha.
So I don't have any lo-fi classic lo-fi.
My ultimate lo-fi is
samples.
the Mirage. You can't get much grungier than the Mirage.
I
So.
was just going to mention the Mirage. Nobody's
Yeah.
cloned that.
It's a pain in the ass to edit too because it's in hex. Right? So.
Probably know half of the circuitry in that.
Editing
It's
hex
so similar to the
and changing text.
another 8-bit
With the
computer.
hex editor.
It's,
those
it's
were
a
the
crazy
days.
thing. But they sound glorious. They're really cool. Actually.
Yeah. I kind of feel like the answer to this question is it's a bit like that poor guy in Argentina who decided to build a 6-voice poly Juno type
Poor guy's
synth.
getting shit on all over the place.
Like if you're going to remake an old vintage thing, like what was that Yamaha thing that you quoted before, Chris? It was the
TX16W, the Yamaha.
yeah. So if you're going to remake that, how many would you sell?
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't even
Yeah,
use mine. I have the Typhoon OS. I still don't use it.
Yeah, me too. I put it in the cupboard. I haven't pulled it out since.
Yeah.
Or if I mean a little bit more modern. I know we said we'll try and keep it below the year 2000, but maybe if I decided to remake the EMU XL7, because there was some cool romantic reminiscence to what that thing did in the early 2000 techno scene, right? If you go back and search, there's literally albums that you've probably danced to in clubs that have got the XL7
Absolutely.
on it.
Albums, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean that all the
I'm thinking a
Proteus,
lot
right?
around Van,
Yeah,
Armin van Buren would have definitely owned one,
yeah.
for example.
So I don't know. Like I kind of feel like with this topic, I kind of feel like it's a bit muddy. Like we kind of don't know whether we want these things remade. It's a personal thing, right?
Yeah.
We don't really have a collective voice in
I
this.
think it's
We
more
don't-
about creating the actual true sound of an old sampler rather than actually creating the workings of the old sampler.
Well, I think it does depend, as I said before, workflow. If it's a good workflow and one that you're used to, then that's what you want to recreate. When, as Andy was saying about the workflow where it's very menu divey and you can't remember, then nobody wants that. So
unless you live in that forever and keep using it. Right.
Yeah, that's why the really early ones like the SP1200 was so limited that the workflow, you could tolerate the workflow because it was not that much to learn, basically.
yeah.
There's still a little menu
So-
dive
and
because they're
that's-
Emacs-y like. So they.
But less to learn because less depth. Because
What's a
of
Rossum?
the-
It's a
I like
Rossum
John's the ultimate
design,
example
right?
because if you don't use it, you forget it. So.
So you got a Rossum design product, and then you got a Roger Lynn design product. Then you've got an Oberheim design product. There's Dave Smith has done those early day digital stuff. What was that thing called that he did?
the Tempest?
Tempest, yeah. And the Tempest is an interesting beast, right? Because
Don't they still make that?
no,
That was made with Roger Lynn,
I
wasn't
know
it?
it's still
With
quite
both of them.
expensive.
yeah,
Both of them.
Dave Smith and Roger Lynn together.
Yeah.
It's basically an Evolver with a drum machine smashed together.
yeah. But the drum machine on it is the interesting part, right? Yeah.
That's what we
So yeah,
And you see, I mean, from a design point of view, I think Roger Lynn is a genius. It's hard, it's hard to use that word really with people, but I'm just thinking of the Lynstrument for a start, and I mean, I've never played an original, Lynn drum, but I can imagine that, given what technology, what he could do at the time, and I remember seeing an interview with Roger saying about how he had, he sort of almost hacked what he had to do to get those sounds because of the technology at the time. But I mean, that thing, from a design point of view and what he's thought about and the fact that it doesn't matter what power supply I put into it, it's not going to blow up. Little things like that, from a design point of view, absolute genius, brilliant. And I can imagine all of Roger's products to some extent have that element to them,
yeah. I think the other thing to remember too is that if you're sort of working with any of the new Akai MPC products, you definitely must know that Roger Lynn is in that somewhere. I mean, it's probably a lot more convoluted now than what it used to be, but the actual basic workflow of an MPC is his invention, and it's still there. Mm-hmm. The whole work, it's actually very, very simple. It's really simple to use. I kind of feel like, because over the years, I've had so many different types of samplers and sequencers, right? I've had the Electron stuff. I've had the Electron Octatrack Mark II. I've had the MPC. I've had the S2400 here. I've had many, right? And I still think the and this is just my personal opinion. It's not like I'm trying to preach it to you guys, right? It's just me. I feel that the MPC seems to be very, very logical as a musician from a musical point of view. Like if you go back to music theory and you think about bars and beats and laying down notes and that sort of basic sort of way that you would progress that way, if that makes sense. That's how the MPC works. It works in that sort of progressive way. But there's a lot of other sequences and samplers out there that don't work that way. They work more on a kind of convoluted record and then manipulate.
Although the MPC 500 was a pain to use. It's portable, but really pain to use.
Probably because it was just very, very basic, though. I think the 1000 was the one that you needed to get in around that sort of day. I had the 1000. I absolutely loved it. I had the JJ firmware on it. It was incredibly very simple to use, and I didn't have it for long. I had it for about 4 or 5 years, and then the MPC Live came out, and I went, "It's a no-brainer. I'll get that." So, but I was saying before about Daren's got the rack-mounted Akai samplers in them, so they didn't have the MPC workflow. They're Akai samplers. Right? Yeah. The only thing that's similar about it is their Akai. And
the Pantene colour of the case. Pantene colour.
And the colour, well, that's the Akai brand.
Well, even the quality, I have the 5000, but it doesn't have the oomph of the 950 that everyone loves, right? The vintagey 950 sound.
Well, you're going to sample rates and DACs again, right?
Yeah.
So that's where you're at there. I mean, really, actually, it's probably not even sample rates. It's probably more DACs than anything.
As well.
I definitely know that there's been people that have talked about like acoustic, sort of audio treatment on the outputs of those devices. So there's definitely some sort of EQing going on or filtering or whatever it is, right? And it's done probably
non-transparent,
probably with capacitors. I'm not sure how they do it, right? But they know what they're doing, and there's a certain flavor of sound that comes out the back of them, which is what people are attracted to. So when you do download your binary data of that sample that came off that original machine, you're not going to get that sound because it hasn't gone through that DAC or that circuit.
The output stage.
Have you guys ever seen? So in an MPC, have you guys seen that you can go into the effects section and you can make your MPC sound like an MPC 3000?
Cool.
An Akai 3000, sorry, or you can make it sound like there's all these different ones that they've got in there. I've never really heard anyone say to me, "Oh wow, they really nailed that." I don't think they've nailed it.
Right.
Machina Plus has that too. There's a mode in the sampler where you can choose the vibe of the sampling.
Yeah, it's probably they're just paying lip service to it, really. They're just making sure it's there and to keep people happy, feature set wise. But as you said, no one's really. And let's face it, it's probably very few people in the world who can do the comparison.
Yeah.
Or who want to, have any need to. You'd probably say, "Oh, Akai sending me a whole lot of cool gear. I might just reserve my opinions on the accuracy of their."
We've got to be careful too about how we romanticize about these sounds either too, right? Yeah. So because it might be an album or a track on an album that you're like, I know he's used an S1000 sampler on there, and it sounds freaking awesome. I love that. I love how crunchy it is. Or there was that Art of Noise album where it just sounded so bit crushed.
You've got to do your research, don't you? Because otherwise you could be.
What gear did they record it on? Yeah.
Exactly. And it could be the studio they recorded it in. Could make a whole difference to that sound. If you want to get that sound, you might actually need the studio.
Yeah. You might need the desk, or you might need that reel-to-reel tape that it was originally recorded on.
Just get the impulse response.
And very good. And not always, and they don't always know, because a lot of these albums and things are made in a time where people aren't going, oh, I better pay attention to all this and write down everything we did, because this is going to be a classic going into the future. Everyone's going to want to know. But no, sometimes people are like, I actually honestly can't remember what we used. I think, was that a different album we used that? And it's like, we're sitting here going, we want to know what you used.
Yeah.
So we could reproduce it, but actually, no.
Yeah.
It wasn't important to them at the time.
They won't even remember. You know why they don't remember? Is because they probably went in there, did their bit, and walked out, and then the audio engineer did all that stuff after he left.
Yeah. That's
it's
why
very common.
That's why some of the best gems come from the audio engineers. Yeah. When you read some of those sound.
Well, Alan Parsons, right? Alan Parsons. If you ever want a really interesting, I think he was just recently interviewed by Rick Beato, right? So if you haven't seen that, go watch that, because he talks about when he was working as an audio engineer with the Beatles, right? And it was the early days, like he was learning how to do tapes and splicing and things like that at the time. So. But that's where he spawned from that world. He was an audio engineer, and is it Sirius? Is that the song that everyone loves? Sirius. Yeah, it's an awesome little little track that he made. There's a couple of other good ones as well.
Opens to Eye in the Sky.
Gamma, Mama, whatever it is, Mama Gamma, something like that. Eye in the Sky, of course.
iRobot's really good too.
And he's Australian too, if you guys didn't know. He's actually originally Australian. Hasn't lived in Australia since probably he was like 15 or something. Yeah. But he's originally
doesn't take much for us to claim him.
Yeah. He lives in LA now. And he's still touring. But the point, I guess, that we're making is that we are romanticising about gear. We don't really know what treatment they put that gear after it was recorded. There was a joke I made before about Apple Music and the Art of Noise, remastered
fidelity.
Yes, we have to put a bit of tongue in cheek to some of this stuff, don't we? And our romantic views of these instruments, and do we really need to recreate? That's where the topic spawned from, I think. I don't think there's anything wrong with you grabbing that famous sample sound on the SR16 or the HR16, whatever you want, that D.T.H mode used, and chucking it into DAW and putting it through your own effects, and just, in the back of your mind, you're like, got that sample, I'm happy. Who cares if it didn't come out the back of that machine? It doesn't really matter. That's kind of my point.
Well, also remember, a lot of the engineering stuff was happy accidents. I mean, the famous Hugh Padgham, drum thing with Phil Collins, right, with the talkback mic. It's an accident.
Yeah. So many accidents.
There are, but some of them are well known, but some aren't. Perhaps.
What was that song I was listening to recently? It's Groovers in the Heart. There's like a dance track from the 90s, wasn't it? Groovers in the Heart.
No, Delight.
Delight, yeah. There's literally an error, and I don't know how it even got approved to go out, and it was the single that was released. There's literally a drum beat error in that song, and you're like, hang on, what happened to that beat? It's kind of towards the end. You'll notice it,
It's for flavor.
It's for flavor, yeah. All right, well, that topic's
we meant to do that.
Been done. We've done it. There we go. We can tick that one off the list. Next week I can do another topic again. I've already suggested one. You guys can tell me to get stuffed if you want. But the other topic I suggested was, how accurate are VST emulations of vintage synths?
Depends which one and when it came out.
Wow.
And
who It's a pretty... Kenty Poos is here. What the hell? Hang on a sec.
Oh.
I didn't even see him.
He's been sat there,
all this time.
It might have been.
He maxes at the screen.
He's in now. Kent, can you hear us? Kent. This is what he looks like right now. Black. Anyway, if he comes in, he comes in.
He had some tech issues last week or so.
How about now?
How about now? You're looking very dapper, mate. Looking like dapper.
Hey.
Hello, darling.
Oh,
Yes, very good indeed.
What was this, 96? 96?
96, yeah, I got one the same.
Yeah.
A famous ad campaign. For
Mine doesn't fit me anymore because I'm a bit fatter than what I used to be.
Yeah, but I mean, on that sampling subject, no, and I have many reasons. See ya.
Well, if they remake it, it's less for you to repair the vintage ones, right? So
it's not just that. I mean, if this is it, if they remake them, but faithfully remake them, which would be pointless in many respects.
Yeah.
You know, for anybody who's had to try and find 4 256K 30-pin Sims,
Yeah.
will tell you, they'll go, do you know what? I wish they'd just make a modern version of this and get on with it.
Yeah.
But it's very, very hard
on your
to
iPhone.
build modern equipment and make it sound crap. Oh no, wait a minute. Behringer did that, didn't they? No,
System 55, right?
We're waiting to see how.
Get Behringer to make
Roland
them.
have done it too.
Is it the right crap?
Yeah, I know. But yeah, it's one of those things where you know, turn on the light instead of the sunlight. It's like I don't know. It's a pointless loop. It just goes around and around the circle, I suppose.
And then how stupid are we going to get with those sounds when we don't even really know how they've been treated in that record?
Well, yeah. I mean, there's also the possibility, I suppose, that you get the sampler and you start using it again and everything like that, and go, God, this was hard work. And the romance wears off after about an hour, and then you're going, yeah, I'm going to go and get the MPC-X out again. I think I can't be asked with this.
Yep. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and I've heard of a lot of people who've got vintage machines, and you know they do get pulled out once every 6 months, sampled, and then used in records for the next 6 months. They're samples. It's just being able to go back every 6 months, I think, and slightly reinvent or slightly change. It's a luxury. Yeah, it's an absolute luxury.
They chop them up in Audacity, dump them back in the sampler, right?
Yeah, it's
editing on this old sampler is very
weird things, isn't it?
Cool.
Yeah.
Let me put you in with us. There we go.
Yeah. Oh, I'm in the corner. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we get to see him next to you. Him.
Oh, who must be obeyed?
Yeah. Oh, him.
We're not worthy. We're not worthy.
He's not well. He's not well today.
Oh. See,
yeah,
folded in half
his
again.
Concerts. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, I think Hans has come down with COVID or something last night, so he's not a happy bunny.
Wow.
Yikes.
So that's why he has to stay up 2 meters away.
Yeah. You need to put a mask on him.
Yeah.
In solidarity.
Might be an idea.
There you go.
Yeah.
So my dad died of COVID. That's literally what took my dad in the end. But I mean, I don't know why they do this. I actually said to the person at the hospital, I said, like, you're just writing that on there because you want to just put a statistic in the corner that here's another death. He didn't die of COVID. He got COVID because he went to your crappy hospital, and that's where he caught it.
Yeah.
It complicates things, though, right?
Yeah.
You get a cytokine storm from COVID, and that can finish you off, right?
Yeah. Well, it's like with my mum. She went in for bed sores, and that was it. She never came out again. You know, it's sort of like, but I mean, there's nothing left of her anyway. There was literally nothing to bring home. I mean, the two forms of dementia simultaneously and everything like that. So, well, it's just taking a dark turn, hasn't it? All of a sudden.
Didn't it?
Thanks
again.
Thanks.
I'm glad you caught yourself there.
I think the stream is now over.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you talk about samplers.
Natural progression.
Yeah.
I just noticed my mic was miles away.
All we did just then was just lower the bit rate. I mean, farts always sound better with a lower bit rate, don't they?
Definitely.
Sound better.
Yeah.
That's what friends are all like.
1930s.
Well, my cassette player was a sampler when I pressed record.
There you go. So like the Mellotron version.
Yeah. I can't believe how many people use the Mellotron. Like, when you think about all those cool songs that you listen to, and you just think, if you didn't really know what you were listening to, you had no idea that they were using a Mellotron. And you just think to yourself, oh, that sounded amazing. What were they using? You're trying to find out what synth they use. It was a Mellotron.
Yeah.
And it had this kind of bizarre, sort of wobbly, sort of crazy out of tune, going back into tune sort of sound. You think, it's got to be a Mellotron. Because the tapes have stretched on that bugger.
Yeah.
Well, like Led Zeppelin, if they recorded it well enough, you couldn't necessarily tell unless you just were really familiar with the sound. You know, Moody Blues and Led Zeppelin used them, and they sound pretty damn good back then.
They got pretty clever, Led Zeppelin, with the Mellotron, I thought. Yeah. They were sort of like playing, knowing that the loop was coming around. They kind of knew.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
And that's the new ones don't do that because they don't have the 8-second limitation anymore.
Well, new one's a sampler too. You get the sampler version, right? Which is crap.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't go there.
I remember one of the really early bands that I played in. We had my father's Watkins Wemcat was it? Which was obviously a tape loop echo thing. So we made some loops, and we basically were sampling, but we didn't know we were calling it sampling. So so recorded a load of stuff on a Philips reel-to-reel, spliced the tape, and made a longer loop and put it at the beginning of a track when we were playing live. So, and that was really early band. So 75, when. But didn't know what we just it was the kit we had. So the WEM copycat, a little WEM amp, and we thought, let's do that. That'll be a cool thing to do. Let's go sample something. We weren't calling it sampling. Let's go record something and stick it over the front of And yes, you could tell where the join was because you could hear it. But we.
Well, it's like with 10cc's, Not in Love, when you go, oh yeah, that's a Mellotron. Then you find out it isn't.
It isn't. It's a mixing desk.
Yeah.
They played the mixing desk.
Was it Studer 16 and then play it through the mixing desk?
Yeah.
What I didn't know was the thing about the kick drum, right? At the very, very beginning is actually a mini Moog and not a kick drum.
Oh yeah, I've heard that.
I know everything, thank you. Oh, okay. She's wearing.
Oh, so they did the Cortini trick where you have a multi-track tape and you use the volume sliders.
Be poised and quiet.
To do it?
Be poised and quiet.
Uh-oh.
Oh, God.
There you go.
Thank you.
Oh.
Thank you.
Yay!
Fella.
Red dog.
Look at his eyes. Look at his eyes. It's coming back now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's coming back.
Yeah, it got sliced right down there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Don't touch it.
Yeah.
He didn't want you to touch
No.
it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, poor little fella.
We had to wash Bonnie today.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think she went out the back and brought in a little bit of what she was supposed to leave out the back.
Oh, yeah. They do that occasionally,
like,
don't they?
Yeah, I think we need to give her a bath. Life of owning a dog. Yeah, I can find. By the way, those dog memes, I see so many of them, and I just thought, I'll sneak one in for you today because I thought you definitely would have liked that. But yeah, I probably, because the algorithm knows I got a dog, it just feeds them to me.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and some of them are hilarious, especially right now because of what Trump said.
Oh God, yeah, they are brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
And then that woman arrested,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
That
That
was
woman
just-
arrested last night after eating a cat.
It's crazy.
In Ohio,
Really?
it's like, but somebody videoed her killing and eating the cat
Which is completely illegal.
in the street. But apparently it was something like about 125 miles from Springfield.
Yeah.
The real one, not the Simpsons one, obviously. That's a bit further.
The guy that does the Chief Wiggum voice is the funniest one. Have you seen that one?
No.
So
Wiggum's just funny.
Yeah.
he is. He's the guy that does. You have to see it. Like, I think if you've got Facebook and go to Reels, you could probably find it. That's probably the easiest way to find it. So you don't have to use that stupid CCP app called TikTok. But yeah,
It's the future.
I was watching that debate, right? I watched it.
Deficit.
When was it? It was like a couple of days ago, wasn't it? Wednesday. Yeah. I was watching something else. I forget what I was watching, and then I literally paused what I was watching and I watched that because it was kind of like a late time for us here. Anyway, so I was watching it, and then he started crapping on about Ohio and they're coming in and eating cats. And
so he's easily trolled. That's the great thing about it. They always talk about triggering the libs, but look how triggered he was.
Right. Oh yeah. It was. God.
That was a masterful stroke from her. That was triggered him.
I thought she really screwed up the first question though. The first question she looked nervous as F. Nervous as F.
But man, when she got on her stride and realized he's just a mess,
she got some swagger.
And she could play him like a fiddle, it was great.
Confidence.
Her first question should have been, what the hell are you? Why are you?
Yes.
I'm a misogynist.
What is the point of you?
Yes. Do you realise that space could be filled with air?
Hey, it's sad thing is like 80 million people love the guy or more. So
well, that's worrying.
That's very worrying.
One of the funniest memes that came out straight after the debate was they had this guy putting his hand up the puppet glove, and you could see it was Biden, and then he pulls it off, and then he puts Kamala on, and it's such a political thing. Like, who is my next puppet?
Yeah.
Right. Crazy stuff.
So what's going to if Trump gets back in, Andy? If Trump gets back in, is he going to continue to build his great big wall? I'm going to build a big wall. Is he going to keep building it?
But if you followed any of that stuff, Steve Bannon got busted for absconding with some of the funds, because they're all assholes, right? They're all charlatans. Oh yeah. And so the wall wasn't well built. It's built in different stages and different types. Some is falling over.
Yeah, it fell over. Yeah,
it's just
I saw the video.
It's a visual thing. It's a joke, right? People can tunnel under it. People can climb over
Mexicans
it.
Mexicans are looking over the border and going, do we really need to go over there because they are so stupid?
Yeah. Well, that was the great thing about the South Park, where the little character Butters, they call him Mantequilla.
Yeah.
And he comes over, but he's people coming back to Mexico. They said, this place is so bad, we're going to Mexico.
Yeah.
So. Mind you, I think the worrying question would be more like, what if he doesn't get in? What will kick off?
Well, he's not going to accept the results. He's a bad loser all the time. So.
Well, nor is his followers, are they?
No, they're going to have another. I think January 6th look like
another January 6th, perhaps. Yeah, except they'll be waiting for them this time.
What's the rule, though? The rule is how many terms? How many terms did the presidents usually get? Right, so, and there's two.
3 was the most ever.
So technically, Kamala is getting another Biden term. That's kind of what they're saying.
Yeah, it's. But it's so funny because they're like, "Oh, you guys pulled a fast one." Well, he was a mess. He cannot run.
He was.
So you had to put somebody in there. They're trying to any excuse to trying to get him to go back in so they could trounce him. He can't. He can't go. He's a mess.
Yeah. So, well, I feel sorry for you guys. I mean, it's. The UK had their new Prime Minister
for the world, I guess.
How's he been going? He's been quiet, hasn't he? He's kept himself pretty quiet.
He's not great.
He's done some flubs.
He's not doing great. He's just his big problem at the moment is that there's there's a winter fuel allowance to pensioners, and he's basically stolen it from most pensioners, and people are up in arms about it.
There's a story come out today.
It's because
about the female minister who's doing all this got her £4,600 heating allowance, and then
really.
And my question was, wasn't that my question was, why is somebody who's on 125 grand a year claiming heating allowance? What's the actual thing?
I mean, there is an argument is that there are lots of pensioners who don't need it, and that's true. But there are pensioners out there that literally, it's either food or fuel, really. So not all pensioners are rich, or or well off. So all of the unions have come out against it at their TUC Congress this week. So, it's the first cock up by this current Labour government. But my argument has been that this, Keir Starmer, our Prime Minister, isn't really, he's slightly left of centre, I would say. He's more right wing than most past. Yeah. Well, actually, Tony, he's a clone of Tony Blair, isn't he, really? Because he was quite right wing at the end of the day.
It's true what Robbie said though, which was he said when you go on a show, a music technology show or something like that, you turn it into a pub in about 10 minutes. And I've just gone and done it again.
You have, but that's all right.
I do apologise.
It just follows you.
Yeah,
around.
but don't forget,
we'd already finished our topics anyway.
As they keep saying, they've noticed that there's a big hole. Was it 20 billion? They found a big hole, which they're going to keep saying for the next.
They keep saying that, and they do keep saying it. They keep blaming. Governments always do this. The Tories blamed Gordon Brown's Labour when they took over. This Labour government is blaming the Tories, which there is some culpability there from the Tory point of view.
Oh, yeah.
I actually think that Keir Starmer is the wrong person to be leading the Labour Party. I actually did vote Labour in the last election, but it was a Lib Dem MP, which was fine. But I actually think he's the wrong person to be leading the government.
I would agree with you there, yeah. And it's just like
Keep Starver.
It is, yeah.
Oh dear, that's clever.
I was waiting for someone to come up with that.
Works well.
Good on you, Kev.
Actually, the fact that he's got nitre is a problem.
Are there modern places that have just electric heaters, or do you guys all have heating oil-based systems?
There are some.
No, the oil stuff is more Eastern Europe.
I would have said it was.
Yeah.
I think it is more for gas and electric based.
Yeah.
Or gas and
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We've got a problem over where we live, where our Prime Minister is named Albanese, and it's definitely not easy with Albanese at the moment. Because one of the things, I don't have anything against the guy, by the way. He's actually been reasonably okay. But one of the problems is that Australia has now become the worst country in the world for disposable income to have shrunk. So they basically, because they've tried to curveball inflation over here, and the way they've done it is by increasing mortgage rates, by putting up the interest rates, right? And basically people have paid 2.5 years ago, they're paying now twice as much on their mortgage what they used to pay. And so everyone's disposable income has literally just gone to virtually nothing. And that's it's an economic way of trying to curve inflation, but inflation's not coming from people spending. It's coming from the price of oil companies putting fuel up because they want to combat against EV cars being released, and there's a whole bunch of other reasons, right? And it's got nothing to do with the spending of people. And now we're one of the worst countries in the world for disposable income, which means that the future generations are not going to have savings. They're not going to have... People don't want to give birth because they think that they can't afford
another
it.
child. Yeah,
it's just crapped the whole country, literally. So I mean, what's
think
the
that's
biggest
pretty
thing a
much-
country can do? Is to have a good birth rate, right? Because then they don't have to bring immigration in. There's a whole bunch of reasons, right? This guy's
that's
just
the problem.
screwing everything up.
Yeah. The main problems we have over here is about housing, isn't it? In the fact that
We've got the
that
same
people
problem.
can't afford a mortgage.
Same problem.
The renting. And the renting, I mean, they're paying 2/3 of their monthly salary on rent. So that doesn't leave you an awful lot of disposable income or enough to food. To I mean, literally,
You guys don't have rent
we
control?
have. No. We have.
No, it's
we have
free
in Frome. We have something called the community fridge, which is there are fridges dotted around. The only place in the country I think that has this, where people can donate food. So. And everywhere you go, every supermarket has got bins where people are donating food. So it has got that bad. If you think back, 10 years? We didn't have food banks. There weren't any food banks.
No.
Were they?
Oh,
maybe longer than that. Actually, I can't remember when food banks.
The last time you had food banks would have been the Great Depression. Obviously, they had
The war.
food banks.
Well, the
then.
war, Second
the
World War was probably towards the end of that. Yeah,
late 40s. Yeah.
And it's become so norm that
so it's kind of similar, isn't it?
Consecutive governments have never addressed the problem. And I mean, there's
because it's social welfare. That's why they won't address
horrendous.
it. It's social welfare.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there's no incentive for them to address it, other than the vote. No. And so they'll win votes by giving little pissy little handouts. That's what they'll do. They'll go, we'll give you a tax break, or we'll give you this little lump sum payment to help with the cost of living, or whatever it is. There's all these little stupid things, and those things don't ever help ever, because they're just short-term band-aids.
It's temporary.
Well, that's the problem. Our governments can only ever look short-term anyway, because it's to keep them in power. So you've only got your 4 years. So it's always ever a minimum of 4 years, a maximum of 4 years that they look to.
Yeah.
So you're never going to get anything. You're never going to get anything other than that. That's the problem.
And it's not that
Unless
the Conservative government. It's not that the Labour government won the election. They really didn't increase their share. What happened was the Conservative government lost the election rather than
We had the same thing happen here last election.
Conservative. I used to be a member of the Labour Party. I resigned from the Labour Party when when Jeremy Corbyn became leader, because I didn't think he was necessarily the right sort of person.
No.
But but we're.
So do we need to start our own party then? The big C party, as in the big common sense party.
Yeah.
Big musicians party.
Really.
That's what we should be called.
Musicians party. Yeah.
Where we're all just
put
drinking
music
beer.
back into schools for a start. That'd be our first policy, wouldn't it?
Well, that's why we need to
give every kid an instrument.
To buy beer.
Make every.
You guys pretty much have it yanked out of schools
beer.
too. It's not really common here like it used to be.
Say again, Andy. What's that?
You got it yanked out of schools as well. It's not really common here. Like
there's very little. Well, there's no compulsory music now, but it's very little, and it's left up to individual schools. So
we still have it,
or academies, as they can be called now. If they've got spare money, then they will put it into the arts, not only just music, but arts in general. But so I mean, when I was at school, we had compulsory music, which was great. Really, everybody did music. Everybody did, Yeah. And so it should be.
One thing I hope they never touch in this country is we've actually got a pretty decent arts education sort of system here, and we have good festivals. So I feel like don't touch that. Like there's money that they could save by touching it, definitely, but don't touch it.
Yeah.
Hopefully not.
I mean, certainly the funding for the arts, and Brexit has got something to do with this, really. But funding for the arts has been decimated. We are actually losing theatre companies and art-based, purely simply because they can't survive anymore, because the funding that they used to get.
A slight off. Wait, it's on a synth topic, because something I bought from Canada, which you can't see because it's part of the live building. Yes, I got import duty, didn't I? Now the last time I bought something,
you did.
I didn't. But this must have been. But this must have just been over the threshold. Oh.
What's the threshold?
Bloody hell.
Is it three? It's not very high, is it? 150 quid, something like that.
It's not very
Actually, it's
high.
less because
I can't remember.
I got import duty on that bloody MPE controller thing, and that was less than 100. That was 120 quid. So it's not very high.
Wow.
My A-frame Potomac had a nice upmarking.
I mean, I think
I didn't
ours is
realise-
1,000, which is probably only worth about 100 quid anyway, to be fair. But our bloody dollar is terrible. But yeah, $1,000. And what annoys me is that quite often when I'm shopping and I'm looking for something to buy synth-wise, it doesn't sneak in under the $1,000 Australian mark. And I'm like, because what they do is they say, okay, let's say it was, I don't know, 650 US that you could buy this thing for, right? And then they add postage on it, and the postage plus the synth is what's included as the import threshold, not just the price of the gear, which is complete bullshit. It should have nothing to do with postage at all. Postage is just a service that you're paying for. It's not like a... But the whole point is with the input duty was that it was supposed to make your country manufacture things locally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How's that working out for us, Rant?
Don't think it's working very well. I'm trying to think.
Not working very well for us either.
Buy Holden, buy Ford.
Melbourne Instruments are there,
See, that's
making
making
sense. And guess where they sold them from?
Parcel's not arrived.
Melbourne Instruments sold them from LA.
Oh, okay.
Looks like all this tariff nonsense.
I
Trump
got
wants
the letter.
more tariffs and stuff.
Philippines.
This is going to be crazy.
I had some chips come in for Los Angeles, and they were valued at $235. And I get the piece of paper come through the door rather than the package, which would have been more bleeding useful because the keyboard was waiting to go. And it's broken down. It's like basically it's 20% of the value is your import duty.
Jesus.
And for somebody to sit there and work that out cost another £9.50, which increased the value.
So they had to
Added it
feed
on
back
to-
in again.
So you
the
pay
whole
the duty
value.
on that, yeah.
And then the getting it out of the warehouse and to me was another cost, and that came part of the total cost. So in the end, it was close to 320 quid to get these ICs. And
Yeah, I'm with you there, Ken, because that's what happened to me when I looked at it. I went, so I've paid the postage and packaging. It's been held because I've got to pay the import duty. But like you say, then there's the cost for them to send it out from their hub, whatever, administration fee. That was another 15 odd quid. And by the time, I think it was almost the price of the bloody item. Gone.
Yeah.
this is why we got this URI number, where you quote the URI number, and for instance, if somebody sends me, I don't know, a Prophet TA in from New York, as an example, when it reaches customs, they go, "Oh, you've got some money to pay on it," and we go, "No, we got this URI number," and they go, "Oh, okay," and have to ship it straight to us. And if it's here longer than 6 months, then we get the bill. So we've got 6 months to repair it and get it the hell out.
Oh,
It's all fine, right? Depending on which port it's coming, because some ports haven't read the manual yet.
Yeah.
And they
I've had that.
"Oh, you owe us $6,000." But no, I'm not paying $6,000 for something I don't own. No, we got this URI number. What's that in? And you spend a month trying to get this.
It's you losing your job.
Well,
That's what it is.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry,
mate.
we haven't done the training. You're going to have to pay.
Yeah.
Oh my
We've
God.
literally done it before now. We've gone, look, when you ship your Mini Moog, say it's a 2016 Moog Music one, but it's actually an RA, which is worth nearly 3 times as much.
Yeah.
When they look up Mini Moog, they just see the first one, and go, "Oh, this one for $3,000." Okay, so it's whatever $3,000 is. You go, cool, and getting £11,000 RA in dirt cheap. Because they wouldn't know if one fell out of a tree on them anyway.
That's
so
right.
you're fine from that point of view. But oh my God, it's been a nightmare. But most of the time now, people just go, "Do you know what? It's so much hassle and cost to get it to you. We'll see if we can find a tech in Europe that can do it."
We were exporting probably 2 or 3 items a month on average before this when we had the shop. And then when Brexit hit, that just literally went it went to one every 2 or 3 months if we were lucky. Because so it killed our export business.
Yeah. Keyboard rubbers. They're only made in America. Nobody here makes keyboard bushings for Pratt Reed keyboards at all, anywhere. Nobody in Europe either. You have to buy them from the States in little packets of 61 with a little brush and a little bit of grease in it. And they cost a fortune. Absolute fortune. Because they've gone up.
It's really good rubber, though.
Oh, yeah. My God, it's good rubber.
It's good Malaysian rubber.
Yeah, high quality. And so it's got to the point now when you rebush a Prophet 5, for instance, it's putting like 200 and... Well, with labour, Jesus, getting on for about 250, 300 quid just to bush the keyboard. And the people are going now, nah, I don't think we'll worry. You go, but I've just bought 2,000. Have it done.
I'll tell you what, the other thing...
Give them discounts, yeah.
The other thing that's... Because I've been recently sorting out my hi-fi turntable and I needed to buy some shims, right, for it, because I can't lift the arm. I've got a Thorens. So I have to put the shim on.
A man dressed up as a woman, Ian?
What?
A shim.
Shim. Yeah, it could be, yeah. So I spent 90 quid on a new cartridge for my turntable. I buy these shims, right? They are little pieces of plastic. That's all they are. 4 of them, 20 quid. So they probably cost less than 2p to make because they are literally little squares of plastic with 2 holes in them of different thicknesses because you get 4 in a pack. And I'm thinking, you're having a laugh. 20 quid for,
But they're carefully curated.
Actually, it depends on petroleum costs, right? When it goes up, the plastic goes up. So
Yeah,
but even so, you'd think there would be some form of incentive for people to try and start small businesses here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm thinking of making.
We won't tax the living crap out of you as soon as you make any attempt to come up with an idea.
Yeah,
we'll help you along with this. We'll give you, tax relief and all the rest of it, and help you get started. No, nothing.
They used to do that, didn't they?
The economy's crap.
But back to the Labour government. That's exactly the sort of thing that a Labour government should be doing: is to try to help small businesses start. And
it feels like the early 80s again out there.
Yeah, we are. Yeah. I mean, I remember.
And in the early 80s, there was those schemes coming up, wasn't there? Eventually,
there were. I had because I had the audio clinic, which was a hi-fi shop at the time. So small one-man business, right? And they used to do something called a YOP scheme, Youth Opportunity Scheme, where you could take somebody who wasn't a school leaver, but they were unemployed, and for, I think it was 2 years, might have been a year, but anyway, 1 or 2 years, they would train. And and we had a YOP who he became an audio engineer, and he trained in that year to do repairs. Right. So at the end of his 1 year or 2 years or what it was, the person comes around and says, "Oh, I see that Neil's finishing next week. I suppose you want to get rid of him?" And I went, "No, I want to give him a job because he's brilliant." Oh, that's so. The scheme was great when he had the right people. When he got somebody who was really good, you trained him within that amount of time. But the actual system, clearly this guy was going around saying, "No, well, you want rid of him, and we'll get somebody else in." It was all about numbers, from a government point of view in the 80s. And I can't remember which government it was that ran the scheme, but we had a couple of people, and we trained them, and we kept them. And that's what they want to be doing.
I'm sorry to tell
you. Just brought horrible memories back for me about my apprenticeship.
Go on, Daren. What?
I'm sorry to tell you. I'm sorry to tell you, Ian, but they have come out of the government and said that it's going to be some hard decisions and pain. So that's what's to look forward to.
I know,
but not this.
But not. Yeah, exactly. It's not the government, is it? So was that your apprenticeship then?
Well.
As a up scheme?
No, my apprenticeship, because it was a garage, it was a panel business.
Yeah. Cool.
Big burly mechanics and what have you, and welders and everything. you have to go through an initiation as an apprentice.
Yeah.
And mine was, they took a plastic dustbin, they cut the bottom out of it, they bundled on me, they got me, they stripped me naked, they put high heel shoes, stockings, suspender belt, and a bra on me, put my hands through the handles of the bin, and duct taped me up, loaded me into the van, and pushed me out in Epsom High Street, 2 miles away from the garage. And I had to walk back like that.
Yeah, because I was an apprentice parent, apprentice,
and then I was one of them.
I was an apprentice chef for a short while. And my initiation ceremony was, they grabbed me. I'd been there about 3 weeks, I think, at the time. They grabbed me, stripped me down to my underpants. They left me with my underpants, and then stuck me in a freezer for 4 hours. A walk-in freezer.
Yeah,
you know, and I'm banging on the door. I was absolutely.
Like I say, Rant, it probably doesn't happen today now.
No.
Number a few lawsuits if that was the case.
Yeah. Just not publicised.
Yeah. What?
All right. Well, speaking of lawsuits, I'm probably going to have to go to bed.
One coming from the wife, perhaps. Hopefully not, Rance.
It's been a wonderful show as always. Thank you everyone for being part of it, and those in the chat. Thank you very much for joining us in chat. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up if you haven't done that already, and don't forget. Is there a pub on tonight, Kent, or no? You don't know.
I would imagine so. Yes.
It's possibly
Otherwise,
a pub.
Get lots of messages from people.
Yeah.
Complaining that there isn't one. So
do a pub or die. Yeah, something like that, right?
Yeah, kind of thing. Yeah. That kind of vibe. Yeah.
Fair enough. Probably you guys will see each other there, but you won't see me because I'll be snoring. And on that amazing, I know, God, you'd think it's 12:26 midnight.
I don't know.
All right, say goodbyes, everyone. Toodaloo.
Bye.
See you later.
Bye.
And I'll hit this button.